Su Xing in his dreams did not think that the little lowly he drooled with desire for would unexpectedly run in front of his eyes. Furthermore, Su Xing's oneness of heaven and man was too powerful. Plus, this place was the underground goo hall, where even Lady Snake Scorpion would not have thought someone would be secretly spying. Seeing the Lady Snake Scorpion watch the mirror as she guarded in front of an ancient door, she constantly muttered to herself. She probably was worrying about the 10,000-year goo and did not pay attention to the Xie twins' clamor. At this moment, the savage star double-headed serpent Xiejin seemingly was fed up and wanted to go walk outside, completely oblivious to danger as she approached that nook Su Xing hid himself in. Su Xing rapidly brainstormed, and then he recalled that last time when he encountered crying star Xie Bao at Falling Dragon Mountain, not only did he act to rapidly dispatch her, he also successfully obtained the blood to cure the goo poison. The opportunity this time and last time that were no different were placed in front of Su Xing. Su Xing maintained his calm and was not excessively excited. First, he sized up the terrain of this place. The secret passage was very deep, with several slightly spacious halls built into the center. Lady Snake Scorpion and the others were paying attention to the birth of the 10,000-year goo, so no one noticed the departing Xiejin. However, calling out a flying sword immediately would alarm them. With Xiejin's reactions at that time, he could not rapidly dispatch her. On the contrary, he himself would fall into a dangerous place. Su Xing currently considered his priority to be obtaining blood to cure the poison and then to discuss about how to kill her quickly. Only the intertwined branch sword of the 1,000-year contract could break the star energy protecting a star general. Su Xing muttered to himself for a long while, and then his mind had its countermeasure. The double-headed serpent walked out 100 paces and suddenly stopped. She turned her head to cast a glance towards the shadows Su Xing concealed himself in. It seemed she sensed something out of place. However, Su Xing had Shi Yuan's hiding innate skill and the oneness of heaven and man. She basically was unable to make him out if she did not walk close. Xiejin's divine intent naturally could not sweep out anything, and she once more walked expressionlessly forward. Su Xing surreptitiously bit open his finger and grasped a clump of essence blood. That clump of essence blood quickly became a golden ring in Su Xing's palm. This was the golden immortal linked life ring he obtained when he killed Long Outyin. Every time he was to use the star weapon of a star-fallen star general, it required essence blood as a supplement, and spitting up every time would make the user's energy greatly harmed. Prudently finishing every movement, no one noticed Su Xing at all. Su Xing inhaled deeply. He turned his wrist, and 30 middle-grade talismans, shadow beast talismans, appeared. Just when Lady Snake Scorpion and the others' attention were completely on their side, he suddenly threw the talismans into the hall at the other end. The talismans transformed into beasts of darkness. These transformed beasts were a very big threat to lower-grade cultivators. However, they were only cannon fodder in front of Lady Snake Scorpion's group. Su Xing did not hope these shadow beast talismans could settle them. His objective was to borrow the void darkness to cover his tracks, and his superior hiding would shift the attention of Lady Snake Scorpion and the others. As expected, the moment the shadow beasts emerged, they startled Lady Snake Scorpion, and the group immediately launched attacks. Su Xing guessed that the shadow beast talismans could persist for more or less between 5 to 9 seconds, and these seconds were the time to settle things with one strike. Sensing the commotion coming from behind her, the double-headed serpent turned her head, seemingly still expressionless. She stepped forward several paces, and the darkness of the surrounding corners suddenly erupted. Xiejin's reactions were very quick, and she was incomparably crafty. She promptly retreated, her hand moving. Several green snakes formed, flying over like living creatures. Destined star weapon. Green tree viper gloom blade. 2. The blade light moved to and fro, its cold glint crackling as it brought a strange spiritual energy on its way to bite Su Xing. Knowing that this green tree viper gloom blade contained potent poison, Su Xing did not dare directly receive it. His body leaned, and the green tree viper gloom blade skimmed past his eyelid. Su Xing even could see the green vipers of that blade flicking their tongues. Xiejin was stunned, but at this time, the double-headed serpent's taciturn nature had been successfully exploited by Su Xing, thus avoiding a blunder. She had not yet called out in the first moments, nor did she utter a single noise. The lady snake-scorpion group that had their attention attracted elsewhere simply did not sense the state that occurred with Xiezhen. The double-headed serpent's eyes flashed a gloom, and her white fingers danced. But how could Su Xing give her that chance? The golden immortal linked life ring rose. The light rays on that golden ring burned, and the talisman's script floated. The golden immortal linked life ring became 5 afterimages that suddenly disappeared. In the next instant, they appeared on the 4 limbs and neck of Xiezhen, and the violently erupting rays of light retracted. A sparkling multicolored light locked tight Xiezhen's movements. Even the double-headed serpent at this time only raised her eyelids, still unfrightened that something happened. Su Xing's heartfelt admiration towards this little girl's calm. He was not the slightest neglectful, and the intertwined branch sword seized the chance to swipe across Xiezhen's arm. Although Xiezhen's arms had been trapped, she nevertheless opened her mouth and sprayed a green poison gas into Su Xing's face. Even Su Xing had no other choice. The 12 heaven-tearing swords once again moved. At the same time, Su Xing's wrist flipped out the miraculous Bodhi tree and swiped at the cave entrance, swiping out a burst of multicolored light and auspicious vapors. Only when Xiezhen spotted Su Xing's spirit treasure did she finally show shock, but at this time, the 12 golden swords already slashed. After Lady Snake Scorpion and the rest destroyed the shadow beast, they sensed something was not too right. In addition, when Su Xing used the golden immortal linked life ring, they were startled. Therefore, every type of magic weapon and ability as well as Xie Bao's golden scorpion fine rain needles shot directly over to save Xiezhen. A clear drizzle of blue light seemingly projected and suddenly flashed, instantly breaking their assault. They saw the golden sword's dragon roar, a spirit abundantly powerful enough to overturn mountains and rivers. "Mother Highness, it's that man!" Xie Bao screamed. "Quickly come back!" Lady Snake Scorpion was greatly astonished, clutching in her hand the purple star-grade star treasure star's falling dragon sword. When Xiezhen's eyes saw the flying swords falling, she already did not have the chance to escape. She had never thought her opponent would plan so accurately, restricting all of her movement. She gloomily glanced at Su Xing, as if she wanted to etch his appearance into her mind. The star crest on Xiezhen's forehead suddenly shattered. Star release. Su Xing was stunned. Just as heaven-tearing slashed, Xiezhen simultaneously disappeared. Su Xing never expected the little girl would be so resolute to use Star Release. Star Release was usable by all Star Generals that signed contracts. It allowed the Star General to instantly return to the Star Nest at great harm to oneself, almost the same as being killed. The difference was in judgment, and recovery was also faster than if they had died. Su Xing swallowed 1,000 bells immortals due and no longer hesitated. He released a purple thunder barrier, turning around to flee towards outside the cave mouth. A concealed weapon. Goo poison successively erupted at the place Su Xing left from. A snake image swept dejectedly pounced at the air. Lady Snake Scorpion's head sunk. She honestly scowled in anger. She did not know what the background of that cultivator was to unexpectedly infiltrate her Goo palace. In addition, twice he had met with her Star Generals Twin-Tailed Scorpion and Double-Headed Serpent, attacking each once. This result practically was more incapable of being accepted than if Lady Snake Scorpion had been killed. Mother Highness. Xie Bao also anxiously looked at Lady Snake Scorpion. She truly was speechless that her elder sister unexpectedly also would fall into the star nest like herself, deserving to be called twins. This queen was careless. Someone unexpectedly could find this secret passageway. Lady Snake Scorpion gnashed her teeth. Demi-King's Golden Wings, Demi-King Power Bear. 3. You two quickly inspect this passageway. Be sure to kill the opponent, and you absolutely cannot allow him to get close. Lady Snake Scorpion coldly commanded the 2 Demi-Kings, even if he dies, flog his corpse. As you command, Queen. Demi-King's Golden Wings and Power Bear immediately rushed out the cave mouth. Mother Highness, calm down. You can only blame that man for honestly being too cunning. Xie Bao consoled. Lady Snake Scorpion nodded and sat on the stone chair. She was somewhat worried and sick at heart. Without Xie Zhen, the loss to Lady Snake Scorpion was certainly extremely great. The Xie twins' martial force were degenerate in of themselves. Relying on the mutual connection of their hearts, their flawless goo poisons were perfect matches. Originally, she had wanted to rely on the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Skill Snake and Scorpion Beauty's Kiss to act as a trump card. She did not expect that surprisingly, this sort of unexpected mishap would occur, that Xie Zhen unexpectedly would be finished. Lady Snake Scorpion truly was angered to the point her lungs were about to explode. Although the double-headed serpent Xie Zhen in the star nest was silent and did not say anything, Lady Snake Scorpion sensed her guilt. Kindly saying some words of comfort, Lady Snake Scorpion continued to look at the goo mirror in her hand. Inside the mirror was the 10,000-year goo, which was already battling at the final juncture. In the end, only one poison ape and a 10,000-year centipede were engaged in their final battle. It was nearly about to be born. She absolutely could not fail here for lack of effort. Lady Snake Scorpion secretly clenched tight her fist. However, at this time, Lady Snake Scorpion had not expected the man she hated to the bone would be even more cunning than she had thought. Demi-King Golden Wings and Demi-King Power Bear walked out of the secret passage and searched their own ways. That guy honestly fled quickly. Golden Wings, your wind and thunder wings perhaps are not a match. Demi-King Power Bear joked. Demi-King Golden Wings was expressionless, his eyes very strange. How can that man flee this quickly? Unexpectedly, there is not a single trace. Hearing Demi-King Power Bear's words, he turned his head and said disapprovingly, "Could it be you have forgotten? That man seemed to be the cultivator that killed twin-tailed scorpion Xie Bao before. Originally, when he was chased by the Rock Demon King, the giant rock spreads its wings and flies 90,000 li still could not catch up. As if your servant's wind and thunder wings has a damned use. Where did such a cultivator defiant of the natural order come from?" Demi-King Power Bear shivered. Immediately afterwards, he was somewhat anxious. If he is this quick, then what are we to do? The Queen wants us to search, but we simply cannot find even the hair of another person. We can just guard the passage's entrance, then? Demi-King Golden Wings thought that this was the best result. To be frank, according to the two of them, encountering a suspicious cultivator capable of getting rid of a heavenly star, they were uncertain in their hearts. Besides, their opponent was someone even the Rock Demon King had no alternative for. Demi-Kings like them had best not waste their breath. Demi-King Power Bear deeply held this to be true. The two of them acting together was somewhat deficient, but each separating would probably end with them being struck down one at a time. However, this is too odd. Unexpectedly, the escape technique did not leave even a single trace. We do not know either what ability it is. Demi-King Golden Wings' eyesight was very strong. Nevertheless, Demi-King Golden Wings truly felt it was odd he could not see the magic energy fluctuations Su Xing left behind when he ran. Demi-King Power Bear scoffed and said, "If that cultivator's escape technique left even the Rock Demon King without a way, your golden eyesight can see hairlines." Demi-King Golden Wings pondered and then obediently guarded the secret passage's entrance. At this time, the two Demi-Kings absolutely did not think that Su Xing did not escape at all, but was right under their noses. Su Xing lied atop a rampart of the hidden passage like a gecko lying down. The him hidden in the oneness of heaven and man condition absolutely could not be discovered if one was not carefully looking. The two great Demi-Kings also absolutely would not expect that the purple thunder Su Xing released just now was only a smoke shell. He did not run, rather he borrowed the purple thunder barrier to climb up and hide himself. Including Lady Snake Scorpion, they all followed their subconscious logic in believing one man alone charging into a risky situation to kill Xie Zhen would be enough of a harvest. Since he was discovered, he was certain to flee. There was no reason to dare conceal himself again. It was precisely this sort of psychological blind spot that let Su Xing quietly break away from the two great Demi-Kings. Even the Shi Yuan in the star nest was flabbergasted and praised him. Otherwise, Su Xing honestly was somewhat thorny to Lady Snake Scorpion. Seeing that the hall was left with only Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao, a cold light immediately appeared in Su Xing's eyes. Seeing that Lady Snake Scorpion was relatively far and having gone through the previous sneak attack, Lady Snake Scorpion had increased her vigilance. At the same time, she clutched a sword of sparkling starlight. Even if they were separated a great distance, Su Xing could sense the resolution on that sword. Astonishingly, it was a purple star-grade star treasure. Xie Bao was at her side, and having lost her elder sister, the twin-tailed scorpion was somewhat depressed, but her whole body was on guard, her fingers incessantly playing with the golden scorpion fine ray needles. Su Xing saw he could not find a gap, and he did not know if delaying any further would be a solution. Heaven knew what time the two demi-kings would return. Moving his divine intent, he immediately rushed out, the 12 heaven-tearing swords producing a deep dragon roar as they shot out. When the golden light appeared, they immediately startled Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao. Xie Bao's golden scorpion fine ray needles became a drizzle that sprinkled over, fine as fur. Lady Snake Scorpion's eyes shot out a tremendous hatred. She raised her hand, and a 7 chi long black python also rushed out. Afterwards, every sort of goo poison each flew out. Not only those but countless poisonous bugs also wildly bubbled forth. Amidst Lady Snake Scorpion's low cries, they pounced towards Su Xing, covering the sky and earth. When Su Xing saw this many poison bugs appear, a slightly flabbergasted expression flashed past his eyes. But in the next instant, those poison bugs wrapped up heaven tearing with layer upon layer, beginning to gnaw at the flying swords. Now, 2 heaven-tearing swords at this time already separated to slash onto Xie Bao and Lady Snake Scorpion. With it clang, clang, Xie Bao's golden scorpion fine ray needles were 3-star, and the myriad fine needles were like a torrential downpour. They easily restrained the flying swords that came slashing. Su Xing was far from giving up when he saw this. 2 Purple Mansion Immortals thunder bullets thick as an arm shot out, immediately booming over. Lady Snake Scorpion's goo poison was superb. Flicking her 5 fingers, she fired a black light. Then, the blazes burning inside the palace pots turned black, soar into the sky and attack towards Su Xing. They had met for no more than a moment, but Su Xing and Lady Snake Scorpion both alternated launching their abilities without holding back at all. What Su Xing did not expect was that this galaxy early-stage Lady Snake Scorpion unexpectedly repeatedly restrained his flying swords and the Purple Mansion Immortal's thunders. However, Su Xing's side still had Yen Yizhen present. The skillful Star Wanderer Little Yi's figure flashed and rushed out, directly attacking the weakest Xie Bao. Let alone that Xie Bao looked like a little girl of 7 or 8 years, she fought calmly and composed. The golden scorpion fine ray needles fell towards Yen Yizhen without leaving any gaps, but Little Yi's speed was very quick, her reactions also very timely. However, the golden scorpion fine ray needles were too numerous and too concentrated. If she got close, even a 5-tiger general would not necessarily block everything. Several thin needles stuck into Yen Yizhen's skin, but the maid was hard as a boulder, not hesitating in the slightest. A fist powerfully boomed onto Xie Bao's head. Xie Bao was sent flying, but this punch was not enough to make her sustain serious injury. The twin-tailed scorpion snorted. She looked at the Yen Yizhen rushing towards her from the front, and the golden scorpion fine ray needles became a scorpion tail that suddenly stabbed downwards. Yellow rank poison needle. Scorpion tail needle. Clang clang. The scorpion tail needle could not pierce into Yen Yizhen's body. The maid's steps changed, easily avoiding the scorpion's tail. The skillful star's phantoms were consecutive, and another fist approached. Lady Snake Scorpion controlled several poison pythons to pounce towards Yen Qing, letting Xie Bao avert disaster. A violent rumble suddenly went through the tunnel. Su Xing instantly knew that the 2 great demi-kings already heard the commotion and were rushing over. It made Su Xing felt that it was a pity he was unable to kill Lady Snake Scorpion in a single hit. She was worthy of the name of the Vermilion Bird Territory's #1 star master. For the goo poison arts she controlled left Su Xing at wit's end. Inside the secret passage, Demi-King Golden Wings flapped his pair of wings, producing the sound of wind and thunder. Several blinks later, and he had arrived. His speed actually was swift, somewhat different in approach to the Rock Demon King's giant rock spreads its wings and flies 90,000 li, but with an equally admirable result. The cultivator is courting death. Demi-King Golden Wings, and his hands became sharp talons that scratched at Su Xing. Su Xing used the true Dragon 9 Claws art to attack. The powerful strength grabbed the two, and they could not help but be repelled. Demi-King Golden Wings' retreat was insignificant, but when Su Xing was forced back, the flying swords controlled by his divine intent were nearly destabilized. Su Xing hastily steadied his mind. A black fire and a powerful toxin already covered towards him under the Lady Snake Scorpion's control. Su Xing fired the Purple Cloud True Star and Purple Mansion Immortal's Thunder to finally stop it. Lady Snake Scorpion was startled, having not thought that the powers of the cultivator before her were more varied than hers. In any case, that she had this many abilities was because her lord husband was Falling Dragon Mountain's great sage Falling Sky, the Rock Demon King. And just what was the background of this brat? Thinking of this, Lady Snake Scorpion was even more unwilling to let Su Xing go. When Yan Yizhen saw that the two great demi-kings made a pincer attack, she could only give up on handling Xie Bao, turning around to attack a demi-king. Her figure moved, and as if the several dozen meters of distance did not exist, she appeared in front of Demi-King Golden Wings in the blink of an eye. Originally, Demi-King Golden Wings was currently charging his golden claws in preparation to give Su Xing another fierce attack. Nevertheless, he did not foresee Yan Yizhen would suddenly block his front. Demi-King Golden Wings promptly went to block, but how could he compare to the Yan Yizhen's two-star weapons, Swallow Flash Samsara? Su Xing at this moment also painstakingly resonated for the sake of allowing Yan Yizhen to instantly dispose of the Demi-King. The coordination between master and servant practically was perfect tacit understanding. Yan Yizhen was indifferent towards Demi-King Golden Wings' defenses, answering his defense with disdain. Her two fists went ahead like phantoms, the air filled with a frightening whistle. How could the pitiful Demi-King Golden Wings expect that the very first to rush over would become the very first to be beaten silly? His powerful body and excellent speed let him down, for under the Swallow Flash Samsara, he was unexpectedly unable to withstand even a single face-to-face confrontation. Every inch of his flesh was shaken and ripped by Yan Yizhen's cruel fists, bringing a ash-black bloodlight. His large body unexpectedly was continuously pressed upon by Yan Yizhen, completely unable to break free. Demi-King Golden Wings sensed he was about to be completely destroyed. He fiercely yelled and his wings flapped. He flew into the air, and at this moment, Yan Yizhen's figure followed like a shadow, appearing behind him at the same time. Demi-King Golden Wings was so frightened he nearly lost his soul. Clearly, he did not expect Yan Yizhen's speed to be fast to this degree. He could not rely on any of his previous experiences in facing an opponent. In the moment Demi-King Golden Wings was startled, he did not even have the chance to react, and then his head was suddenly grabbed by the maid behind him. Speedily defeating her opponent in a single blow, Yan Yizhen certainly was never one to be sloppy. Yan Yizhen's hand grabbed Demi-King Golden Wings from behind and fully used her heavy fist. The yin-yang Pisces fists alternately struck, a warm and a cold Pisces reflected each other. A frightening noise continuously was produced between the two. Demi-King Golden Wings' groans were louder and louder, already completely uncontrollable. The acute pain made Demi-King Golden Wings simply unable to organize any counterattacks. A large expanse of bloodlight erupted and sprayed into the air. The red-scarlet color was a ghastly sight. Combined with bits of dust sent flying in the air, it drew a long bloody tint. The maid cruelly kicked above his stomach, and the immense strength changed Demi-King Golden Wings' shape. Boom! An enormous noise. Demi-King Golden Wings fell onto the ground. The hard floor splintered, sending fragments shooting in all directions. A gigantic air wave soared, like a true tidal wave, raising a terrifying tide. The entire room gave rise to a violent quaking, all because of Yan Yizhen's attack. The magnificent supercluster Demi-King had unexpectedly been instantly killed by Yin-Yizhen. The yin-yang Pisces on the maid's fists swam around. Impossible! The skillful star wanderer Yen-Qing. Lady Snake Scorpion turned pale with fright, and neither did she know why she felt it was impossible. Demi-King Power Bear at this time rushed over. Due to his not having Demi-King Golden Wings wind and thunder escape, his speed was greatly slower. He stared blankly at the Demi-King Golden Wings that was killed like a lamb entering the tiger's den. Demi-King Power Bear was also of tyrannical strength, and he swung his huge fists without the slightest hesitation. Su Xing at this time broke the resonance, and he released another Purple Mansion Immortals Thunder and Purple Cloud True Star. It was just that delaying further like this was too great a waste of energy. A drizzle of 100 golden needles pierced through and broke out of the purple thunder. Su Xing controlled the flying swords to block them. Lady Snake Scorpion could discern that Su Xing was out of the ordinary. Perhaps he still had abilities he was restraining. She immediately did not hesitate, and neither was she willing to continue delaying. Although it was somewhat of a pity, she could only use her strongest astral treasure. The astral treasure star's falling dragon sword in the Lady Snake Scorpion's hand immediately waved, and when Xie Bao saw this, she then entered the star nest. Lady Snake Scorpion read an incantation. The light rays of that double-edged sword's starlight in her hand shimmered and was increasingly penetrating. Countless dragon images were seemingly sealed onto that sword, and these dragons were like tadpoles that were shrunken down several times as they swam about continuously on the sword's edge. Su Xing immediately sensed something far from reassuring. Lady Snake Scorpion took no more than the blink of an eye to raise the sword in her hand. The entire underground palace was filled with light. The starlight of a galaxy seemingly fell into the underground, the scene seemingly exceedingly beautiful. Stars falling dragon sword. The insufferably arrogant Demi-King Powerful Bear shouted in fright, unexpectedly not caring to strike Yen-Yizhen any longer. He turned and was about to flee. Little E. Su Xing roused the 12 heaven-tearing swords the moment he saw this. The 12 heaven-tearings became a golden shield that protected his entire body. The swords released golden dragons that were also bold and powerful. Little E understood tacitly and stole into the star nest. Go! Lady Snake Scorpion shouted, and that star's falling dragon sword immediately was like shattering glass. The 100 different colored dragons trapped inside suddenly burst out like a heaven-overflowing flood. The entire underground cave was filled with countless dragons, imposing and turning everything upside down. Su Xing was startled, having not expected the Lady Snake Scorpion's star's falling dragon sword to be this violent. Countless dragons immediately crammed into the underground palace, like a rolling flood. The cavern's black fire, poisonous animals, and poisonous bugs were instantly washed cleanly away. Bang bang bang. Demi-King Power Bear screamed and was ravaged into a rag by a dragon. Su Xing's heart shivered. An entire supercluster Demi-King unexpectedly was swallowed by a dragon with not even slag left. The dragons slammed onto the 12 heaven-tearings like a tidal wave. Su Xing's divine intent hurt. Silently shouting, "This is bad," the immemorial sword chant heaven-tearing dragon-scale sword was unexpectedly slightly unable to persist after being twisted by Lady Snake Scorpion's dragons. Damage surprisingly appeared on the life-cast flying swords. This astral treasure honestly was too terrifying, and Su Xing hastily seized the miraculous Bodhi tree to swipe with. A wave of divine light manifested and rolled. Prehistoric spirit treasures were purported to be slightly better than a purple star astral treasure, but with this swipe, he did not know if it was his cultivation that was too low or if it was because of other reasons. The clear light and propitious vapors of the miraculous Bodhi tree capable of breaking 10,000 techniques wrapped up the 100 dragons. Nevertheless, it only made things smaller, and it was incapable of suppressing the falling dragon sword's devastation. Su Xing again swallowed several thousand bells immortals dew, successively swiping several times. Only then did the clear light finally was considered to have taken the advantage. Lady Snake Scorpion inhaled, similarly consuming several thousand bells immortals dew. The weakening falling dragon sword's vigor again increased, crazily swelling. Su Xing and the lady snake scorpion began to stake their star energies. The miraculous Bodhi tree and the star's falling dragon sword carried out a life and death confrontation. The one that could not persist dies. Liked it? Great Circle Castle. The noble star little whirlwind Chai Ling opened her eyes and leisurely rose from her frankincense session. Her hair was a mess, and her soft chest was half covered, a beauty's sleeping posture. Milady! Jinji and Yuya carried golden basins and silk towels as they waited respectfully nearby. This palace truly has provoked a major inconvenience. And what did that guy go and provoke to make this palace's heart so anxious and frightened? Chai Ling's hands dipped into the warm water and used the silk towel to wipe herself clean, all the while complaining. Milady, at that time, why did you have to consume the together to hell with him? Jinji very carefully asked. Once something like together to hell was consumed, a telepathic link was formed between both minds. Given the sort of extensive travel Su Xing undertook, a star master that went through fire and water, their commandery princess could not avoid great suffering. For the sake of the star beast, this is worth the price. Chai Ling held her golden thread feather fan, delicate and graceful. How has she been most recently? Still at that old place? Chai Ling asked. Yes. This palace shall go see her. Perhaps Su Xing would make her feel interested. Chai Ling wore a cramped smile. Great Circle Castle, Longhuan Pavilion. This was an extremely luxurious book depository, its doors engraved with dragons and painted with phoenixes, colorful and brilliant. In particular, the 3 words, Longhuan Pavilion, resounded powerfully. The phoenix danced towards the dragon, the power of the strokes exceptional. This was the calligraphy of the 5th-generation noble star. In reality, let alone that the noble stars of the successive generations of star duels were spectators from start to finish, each noble star was never lonely. The first noble star produced vast wealth, the second noble star had wealth equivalent to a nation's, the third noble star hoarded every sort of rare item, the fourth noble star gathered intelligence on Liangshan, and the 5th noble star began to specialize in each of the major sects. The entire Great Circle Castle up to now was the accumulated wealth of the successive noble stars. This Longhuan Pavilion was something the 5th-generation noble star left behind. Inside, it possessed scrolls from the entire Liangshan continent that even Emperor Liang would feel inferior to. In full, there were millions of books. But it was a pity that even if the noble star was unrivaled in splendor, in the end, she nevertheless could not avoid disappearing following the conclusion of the star duel. Chai Ling raised her head to look at the next few characters on the Longhuan Pavilion. On it was written several words from the Book of Rites. Study things broadly, investigate things fully, deliberate things carefully, discern things clearly, practice things universally. 3. These were the 5th noble star's words of self-encouragement. If this palace were to seize a star beast and become a genuine star general, would that not count as this generation's dream? As Chai Ling thought this, she pushed the door and entered. Longhuan Pavilion was a hall 1,000 square meters long and 100 meters tall. Its 4 walls were filled with shelves of scrolls. Even that black gold pillar was piled with scrolls. However, the volumes originally should have been displayed nevertheless were in disarray. The entire floor was piled with all sorts of ancient books in piles more than half a meter thick. Seeing such a terrible mess, the little whirlwind Chai Ling was not angry, but freely smiled. She walked in and found a seat to sit in. Jinji and Yuya brewed some violet tea for Chai Ling. A faint wisp of the violet tea drifted into the air. That smells great. Suddenly, a voice rang out inside the room. Voila! The sea of books filling as far as the eye could see flipped apart, and a tall woman climbed out from within the pile of books. She was a beauty, with thick brows and shining eyes. Kong Ho, 5, have you found any information on that maiden mountain? Chai Ling covered her mouth, seemingly smiling yet not as she asked. This Kong Ho woman carefreely sat over, directly picking up that pot of violet tea and pouring herself a cup. It truly is strange, there is no information on the Maiden Mountain at all, so hard to find. Kong Ho replied in satisfaction. The fifth noble star was once like you, having sworn to crack the secret of the Maiden Mountain, but in the end she turned up empty-handed. Chai Ling slightly smiled. Kong Ho replied, that Maiden Mountain cannot possibly appear out of thin air. Since the star duels have only had 1,000 years, there will always be traces from before 1,000 years. Liangshan continent's documents are countless, and I do not believe that I cannot find the tiniest of hints. You could search 100 years and come up with nothing. However, that said, Kong Ho, the star duels have begun so long ago, yet you never were interested. Chai Ling indistinctly shot a glance at her. Kong Ho rested her head on her arms. Those black as lacquer pupils flashed a slight loneliness. What is there to be interested about in the star duels with this sort of internecine killing? Quite the interesting change has appeared in this generation. Chai Ling smiled. Kong Ho heard the implications in her words, and she hooked on a smile. Chai Ling, what change? There is a star master that has contracted at least 4 sisters. The little whirlwind opened the golden thread feather fan and covered her lips, her eyes filled with rumination. When Kong Ho heard this, she immediately twitched her lips. Having seen the secret documents of Liangshan's star duels, she naturally knew that signing 2 was the star duel's limit. One with more than 2 had never appeared, more than 4 sisters? That man is amazing, but in the end, he is the same as the others. Hearing that he had signed 2-star general did not make her feel surprised at all. This palace is thinking if that man refused? The little whirlwind's tone was thoughtful. Refuse? Since he participates in the star duels, how could he possibly refuse? Kong Ho laughed aloud. In the future, will you be willing to lend him a helping hand? The little whirlwind did not reply and countered with another question. Kong Ho pinched her chin and looked pensively. Chai Ling, what relationship do you have with him? What are you doing concerning yourself with a star master? These star masters merely exploit star generals to ascend Maiden Mountain and grant their so-called wish. Elder sister Kong Ho, just answer this palace. Chai Ling closed the fan, her expression appearing very serious. I shall not go help a star master. Pondering for a moment, Kong Ho shook her head. What if this palace were to inform you that star master has contracted Lin Chong? And then I actually want to see that for myself. However, I feel some things are strange. Chai Ling, at what time would you act as the go-between for a star master? Kong Ho downed a mouthful of violet tea. The little whirlwind Chai Ling hooked on a queen's frivolous smile. She smiled but did not speak, for her head suddenly hurt. What is the matter? Chai Ling twitched her lips, and her brows wrinkled. Just what was that man doing? The Gu Palace's underground. The myriad dragons became a tide that struck wave after wave onto the heaven-tearing swords. The 12 apex sword chants appeared to be on the verge of destruction. Su Xing thought to himself that this astral treasure actually was defiant of the natural order. Swiping the miraculous Bodhi tree several more times, every 3 swipes was able to stop just one wave of the falling dragon's assault. A short while later, with more than half of the 1,000 bells immortal dew gone, it made Su Xing's heart ache endlessly. Lady Snake Scorpion was also strenuously hanging on. The star's falling dragon sword also reached the critical point. This sort of purple star astral treasure was far from being simple as needing star energy to function. Now, having supported it for so long, she was an arrow at the end of its flight path. Seeing Su Xing was still resisting, her heart was somewhat resentful. Roar! Suddenly, an ape's hoot resounded from the Gu Hall. A violent jolt occurred in the underground palace, and a large area of rock peeled off. The expressions of Su Xing and Lady Snake Scorpion changed at the same time the 10,000-year Gu was being born. Hey! The star's falling dragon sword's light retracted, and the multitude of dragons turned back into a sword blade. Lady Snake Scorpion completely did not hesitate to then shoot a large expanse of Gu poison and then rush towards the Gu Hall's main door. How would Su Xing allow her wishes to be fulfilled? And he gave chase without another word. The Gu Hall's doors opened with a boom, and the two entered the Gu Valley at nearly the same time. The scene they saw inside was simply terrifying beyond compare. Inside this sealed valley were skeletons like mountains, an overwhelming stench, and the bodies of countless grotesque poison creatures, animals and bugs of names that could not uttered lay strewn over 10 li inside this goo hall were the corpses of odd demon creatures as far as the eye could see. The toxic gases were pervasive, and the air was viscous. Just on these skeletons piled like a mountain stood a humanoid ape. It had 2 heads with arms extending past the knees. Its pitch-black fur was dyed red, green, blue and with every sort of poison creature's blood. One of its pupils was already shattered, and the other was red as blood. What made people particularly shocked was its appearance. Its arms lay across a centipede-like carcass, the black fur seemingly like a hedgehog's poison needles, its fangs extending and retracting. It spat black chi, and its back sprouted a pair of bat wings. The poison flowing on its body congealed into an armor. One arm's claw was half a meter long. Whatever could be odder was odder. The 10,000-year Gooch Su Xing was startled. Lady Snake Scorpion was also startled, and then she was more delighted. How was this a 10,000-year goo? It was clearly a goo demon that had evolved from devouring countless poisons, bugs and beasts. Lady Snake Scorpion wanted to capture it the moment she saw it, for the goo demon that had just emerged from combat was now at its weakest. With the goo poison arts Lady Snake Scorpion meticulously cultivated for several decades, capturing it was easy as flipping her hand, but how could Su Xing allow her to have her way? Yen Yizhen rushed out of the star nest, running as fast as flying, one punch sent towards Lady Snake Scorpion. That goo demon at this moment noticed the two. Perhaps it had been immersed in a slaughter mode and had not yet sobered up, but the moment it saw the two, its blood once again flared up. Lady Snake Scorpion shouted, "Not good." She had arrived too early, for when the goo was born, it was necessary to wait a time until after the goo finished killing. Not long after the fighting ceased, the goo would fall into a state of deep sleep. That time was the golden opportunity to capture it, but because this man was interfering, Lady Snake Scorpion had momentarily forgot this matter when she impatiently charged into Goo Valley. As a result of this, the goo demon in front took the two to be targets to begin fighting again. The goo demon issued a shrill scream. It opened its arms and hugged towards Su Xing and Lady Snake Scorpion. Its chest had hundreds of claws, and its poison fangs were exposed, appearing terrifying. Lady Snake Scorpion dodged Yen Yizhen's fist, waved her hand, and a black bug flew out. "This time, we are certain to die." When Su Xing heard these words, he did not have the intent to reply, but he knew the seriousness of things. After a severe look flashed across his face, his sleeves suddenly trembled. Immediately, there was a clear dragon cry, and several dozen small golden swords swam out of his sleeves. In the blink of an eye, they transformed into a several chi-long golden light dragon, which spiraled around Su Xing. It was a pity that it had been greatly damaged by the star's falling dragon sword. Its radiance was dim, and its greatly depleted spiritual power made Su Xing very heartbroken. Then he completely did not hesitate to consecutively strike several hand seals. All of the sword light shuddered several times. Instantly, it split into more than 100 identical golden lights, the light glowing brighter at the same time. "Go!" Su Xing formed a seal, and he softly shouted. The more than 100 sword lights suddenly cried simultaneously, then they trembled all around. Each and every one of them oddly faded away from their position, instantly slashing in front of the goo demon. Clang clang! Su Xing was astonished, for he did not know whether it was because heaven tearing had abrasions or something else, but the flying sword array unexpectedly halted on top of an impenetrable defense to no avail. The goo demon that had passed through 10 years of slaughter waved its hand, that arm bursting 100 meters. Yen Yizhen directly grabbed this arm, and her skin was immediately pervaded with black poison. This goo demon's entire body was highly toxic beyond compare, untouchable by even little e. Yen Yizhen did not release it and still held onto the goo demon's arm as she tossed it away. The goo demon stopped in midair, its wings flapping. It had 2 long arms and its long tail was like a scorpion stinger. Su Xing's heart sunk. This 10,000-year goo was somewhat hard to chew on. The goo demon before him truly was monstrous and terrifying to the extreme. Its side-by-side necks had two malevolent ape heads, and its four long arms oddly extending past the knees scrambled like the 100 feet of a centipede. The fur of its whole body were like needles, and a black horn several inches long grew from its forehead. With its black face and fangs, its black lips opened and closed, a black as if it had been made up. Its long tongue full of spikes unexpectedly extended several chi, and when it flicked in and out, it was similar to a poisonous snake. What made people feel even colder was that the pupil of the ape's eye was narrow as a crack, flashing a blood-like cold light. As its eye rolled, it unexpectedly did not contain the feelings humans could have, and its fingers were sharp and directly grew similarly spiny fingernails. Opening and closing, a silvery white light flashed, an incomparably sharp appearance. Seeing this frightening appearance that made people freeze rather than fight, Su Xing and Lady Snake Scorpion each had different feelings. Su Xing felt that if such a goo demon became the helper creature of a star master, that simply was helping the evildoer, a disaster to the common people, but Lady Snake Scorpion was completely like she already had the best position. As far as goo poison arts were concerned, the 10,000-year goo demon in front of her truly was the perfect work. Su Xing felt this Lady Snake Scorpion was honestly very troublesome. Seeing that flying swords were unable to kill the goo demon, he might as well attack Lady Snake Scorpion, so as to avoid Lady Snake Scorpion using some weird method to obtain the 10,000-year goo. "Little E, you bother the goo demon," Su Xing instructed. "You can die." Xie Bao emerged from the star nest, her palm wide open. The golden scorpion fine ray needles shot over. Su Xing fanned his sleeve and blocked a portion. Xie Bao's golden scorpion fine ray needles nevertheless were endless. Heaven tearing at this time was already unable to resist, so Su Xing could only recall it into his body. Without the flying sword's support, the pressure on Xie Bao was greatly decreased. The golden scorpion fine ray needles continuously suppressed Su Xing, every sort of poison art emerging in succession. Bang! There was a weeping cry. Yen Yizhen's yin-yang palm of one yin and one yang chopped down onto the 10,000-year goo demon's heads. The goo demon bared its fangs and sprayed out poison. Yen Yizhen's star energy condensed and became a vast stretch. Yen Yizhen was taken aback. Her palm chop entered the goo demon's body, but it brought out a carpal poisonous fluid. Even the skillful star made a pained face and fell back several steps. Luckily, she had the protection of the yin-yang Pisces boxing gloves, otherwise the bones in her hands perhaps would be destroyed. "Master, its blood has a decaying poison," Yen Yizhen warned, not yet withdrawing. Her leg kicked heavily directly into the goo demon's stomach. The 10,000 poison quills abruptly contracted, and the goo demon showed a malevolent expression, screaming at Yen Yizhen. That scorpion tail behind it powerfully stabbed at Yen Yizhen with a thunderbolt-like obstinance. The maid leaned and easily dodged past it when the goo demon's two claws went for a bear hug. Yen Yizhen shouted, and her left elbow struck the goo demon's mandible. At the same time, she quickly turned around and used her right elbow to strike the jaw of the goo demon's other head. The skillful star's attacks were very refined, and even if her two fists had been decayed and their might greatly decreased, the joints on the wanderer Yen Qing's whole body were weapons. The goo demon spat out a poison gas. The whole body of this goo demon had bones of reinforced iron, so Yen Yizhen's fists and kicks simply were useless. The maid executed a quick somersault and leapt 1,000 meters away. The 10,000-year goo demon's wings extended, and it instantly scratched at Yen Yizhen's stomach. The maid's short hair parted, dodging within a reaction time of 1,000th. At the same time, her right fist tightly clenched and boomed against the goo demon's chest. This punch concentrated all of the power Yen Yizhen's whole body had, until the fire of yang surged in waves. Boom! The goo demon had been sent flying heavily away. Just at this time, a green lotus hill pressed against it head-on. Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao revealed shocked expressions. They saw Su Xing was still capable of using a prehistoric spirit treasure during the time he was stalling them. This guy's divine intent control was unbearably too abnormal. Su Xing struck a hand seal. The current coordination between he and Yen Yizhen was telepathic, each movement of the pair seemingly discussed beforehand. This sort of tacit understanding was the top condition that Star General and Star Masters pursued. The green lotus peak swelled with a whistle, and then it pressed down upon that 10,000-year Gu demon ape when it was sent flying by Yen Yizhen. The 10,000-year Gu demon spat out a clump of poison gas in a vain attempt to block it. Rumble! The mountain pressed on top of it. The Gu Valley's interior split open with landslides as the green lotus mountain heavily pressed down. It was a pity that Su Xing was too late to refine this green lotus peak. Otherwise, if he had the green lotus karma fire, he definitely could exhibit even more of the green lotus peak's might. However, being pressed squeezed by a mountain, this 10,000-year Gu perhaps had turned into a meat pancake. Recalling the green lotus peak, Su Xing looked, and he secretly cursed. There was no meat cake at all, there was not even a hair. All he saw was a large hole. That ape unexpectedly dug a hole to escape. Fuck, it unexpectedly could do this. Su Xing was speechless. However, to dig a tunnel in a split second to escape the spirit treasure pressing down on it was too incredible. The stone broke open with a bang. Then, the 10,000-year Gu demon rushed out from the earth. Its mouth was full of razor teeth, and its 4 claws were sharp. When Lady Snake Scorpion saw that the 10,000-year Gu demon had run to her side, she was not fearful but delighted. Her wrist flipped, and a multicolored light pillar flashed. Instantly, the 10,000-year Gu demon was enveloped within. Her heart was greatly happy, and seizing this chance, a giant white ring then tightly covered it. The 10,000-year Gu demon hooted several times, its pupils drenched in blood. Its large mouth open. After it saw the white ring flash, the ring suddenly appeared above it and fell directly downwards. The 10,000-year Gu within the multicolored light pillar lightly waved its 4 arms. Suddenly its 4 demonic arms flashed purple light, unexpectedly firmly stopping that giant ring, its actions completely swift. This moment made Lady Snake Scorpion startled. This was but the Gu trapping ring, 3, which held excellent efficiency against this sort of Gu type. It unexpectedly being stalled was honestly inconceivable, but hastily urging a hand seal, that halo's light shot in all directions. There was a brief trembling as the Gu demon wanted to cast it aside, but the 4 large arms were like metal, completely unable to move in the slightest. The 10,000-year Gu made an odd grin. Suddenly, it opened its mouth, and a pitch black as ink liquid spouted forth, just happening to strike onto the giant ring. The moment the immemorial secret treasure originally flashing a divine light was sprayed with the black liquid, the ring whined, and the divine light completely dispersed. At the same time, it became pitch black like ink, flickering with an eerie black light. "My Gu trapping ring!" Lady Snake Scorpion shouted with great alarm. When the ring's color changed, it instantly broke the mental connection she had with the Gu trapping ring. Her expression briefly lost its color. This 10,000-year Gu demon that was unexpectedly fearless of even immemorial secret treasures honestly made people feel disbelief. This damned animal still does not acknowledge serving beneath this queen's foot. Lady Snake Scorpion cursed. She raised the stars falling dragon sword, but then she feared destroying this hard-to-obtain 10,000-year Gu. If it was properly cultivated, that certainly would be an existence that surpassed purple star-grade magic weapons. The future star duels inevitably would be the Lady Snake Scorpions. The damned animal, Lady Snake Scorpion, clutched talismans that she successively threw. She proved herself the woman of the Rock Demon King, for they were all high-grade talismans. The twin-tailed scorpion Xie Bao could only give up confronting Su Xing and turned to attack the 10,000-year Gu. Lady Snake Scorpion and she were both experts in Gu poison, and they were quite knowledge about handling the 10,000-year Gu covered head to toe in poison gas. The so-called fight poison with poison actually restricted it. Little eat take it? Su Xing saw that Yen Yizhen's complexion was already poisoned, and knowing she was heavily poisoned, he opened his mouth and gave the detoxification pearl to Yen Yizhen. Yen Yizhen did not decline. When she fought Xie Bao, she had sustained many golden scorpion fine ray needles and was also heavily poisoned confronting the Gu demon. If this continued, Yen Yizhen would be unable to endure. Swallowing the detoxification pearl, The detoxifying treasure emitted a clear light that gradually suppressed the poisons in her body. This 10,000-year goo demon is very powerful, as if physics don't apply. Su Xing had not acted and still calmly watched Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao handle the 10,000-year goo, hoping he could maneuver in through a gap. The 10,000-year goo demon was of copper hide and iron bone, but Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao also were formidable. Under its chase to kill, they nimbly dodged and countered. Xie Bao's golden scorpion fine rain needles focused on piercing the 10,000-year goo demon's eyes and other weaker areas, sticking in that the goo demon howled incessantly. Martial force is completely ineffective? Yan Yizhen was confused. Oh, in short, swords are ineffective, but normal magics are ineffective, too. Su Xing's head somewhat ached. Yan Yizhen deeply held the same feeling. In her short exchange with the 10,000-year goo demon, the skillful star already knew this goo demon's ferocity. Star weapons actually could break through, but it was a pity that Yan Yizhen's star weapon in Yang Pisces boxing gloves turned out to be completely at a disadvantage handling the goo demon. If Ying Mei was here, this would be far easier. Yan Yizhen clenched tight her fist. Su Xing agreed. He sensed Ying Mei and Xinjie. It seemed that things were apparently not as fierce as before. Furthermore, that Ying Mei and Xinjie had not returned to the star nest meant they should be all right. However, his intense uneasiness still made Su Xing wish to return quickly. It was just that the 10,000-year goo already was born, and not settling this hidden danger, he would perhaps be ashamed to see them after his return. But right now, Su Xing's abilities were ineffective. Inside his body, there were still 3 star weapons he could try. Thinking of this, Su Xing's eye shone. He spat essence blood, which became the blaze refining 9 Hell's saber, and the magical tool magical fire cloud fragrant handkerchief was thrown out at the same time and hung over the 10,000-year goo demon's head. Little E. Yan Yizhen tacitly understood. She immediately rushed over to obstruct the link Lady Snake Scorpion and Xie Bao had with the 10,000-year goo demon. Being closed in on by a martial general, Lady Snake Scorpion had no choice but to give up confronting Yan Yizhen. The magical fire cloud fragrant handkerchief sucked away Su Xing's star energy without end. Its spinning accelerated and suddenly transformed into a scarlet fire cloud. Even the surrounding airflow completely became a thick blood red, turning and boiling. There were waves of blood, and the black goo valley was enveloped in a dazzling blood red. The red cloud secretly rolled with a blood flame. That cloud of blood and waves rapidly spun, and with a heavy boom, a great expanse of dark red flame fell towards the 10,000-year goo demon. However, this was not sufficient to kill the 10,000-year goo demon. The blaze refining 9 Hell's saber seemed to be a monster in high spirits, issuing a husky and intense cry. 9 scarlet lights struck the middle of the magical fire cloud fragrant handkerchief. The dark red magical fire's power wildly swelled and flourished under the 9 Hell's magic flame that burned the monsters under heaven. But he did not expect that the 10,000-year goo demon would soar into the sky, open its large mouth and unexpectedly swallow the red cloud. When he saw that it wanted to eat the magical fire cloud fragrant handkerchief, Su Xing shouted to himself, "Fuck," and hastily recalled it. This sort of abrupt termination made Su Xing violently vomit blood. A ghostly wind blew. The 10,000-year goo demon spread its wings, waved its 4 arms and bared its fangs as it went to attack Su Xing. "Are we to kill it?" A very soft voice suddenly sounded out next to Su Xing. Turning his head to look, Gong Sun Huang had emerged from the star nest and sat on Su Xing's shoulder. The little girl stared at that goo demon flying over, her face calm. "Little Huang, quickly go back to self-cultivate." Su Xing coldly looked at the flying 10,000-year goo. At this time, he suddenly recalled something. A multicolored mirror of bright light appeared on his wrist. This was a treasure mirror that Holy Mother Qixia in the end turned over to Wu Xiao, called some shifting light mirror that was reportedly able to restrain a goo. However, Su Xing did not believe that Holy Mother Qixia could be so kind. He feared there was some plot, but this indeed was unmistakably a heavenly spirit-grade astral treasure. Now, he could only test it. It was not going to make things worse anyways. Gong Sun Huang wanted to say something but hesitated. Su Xing shouted and pointed the mirror. The mirror shot a 7-colored light onto the 10,000-year goo demon's body and illuminated it, and the 10,000-year goo demon screamed. The light-shifting image-switching mirror, Lady Snake Scorpion suddenly went pale in shock when she saw this. The multicolored light sparkled and enshrouded the body of the 10,000-year goo demon. Those multicolored lights could be said to be strange, like petals elegantly fluttering. They finally converged to a single point and unexpectedly transformed into the shape of a person. When Lady Snake Scorpion saw this, she was about to advance to break it, but she simply was incapable of breaking away from Yen Yizhen. Could it be this goo had some use? Seeing the Lady Snake Scorpion so anxious, Su Xing thought there was a trick, but his smile immediately disappeared. That clump of multicolored light barely made the 10,000-year goo demon feel dazzled, and Su Xing did not see any substantive harm. The converging multicolored lights scattered like butterflies. Then, a graceful figure transformed from the light, leaving Su Xing dumbstruck. That figure's head wore a sunset cloud cap and draped her body in sunset cloud nikhang. Starlight twinkled, a rainbow chi linked together, and a powerful star energy awed everyone present. Astonishingly, it was Holy Mother Chi Xia. Seeing that Holy Mother Chi Xia's hand held a similar treasure mirror, the two mirrors seemed to overlap space and allowed her to emerge. Su Xing finally knew why Lady Snake Scorpion would be that startled and call out some light-shifting image-switching mirror just now. Some goo-restraining object this was. It was clearly an astral treasure that transmitted across space. This Holy Mother Chi Xia honestly was cunning as a fox, unexpectedly exploiting them to go search for the 10,000-year goo and deliberately saying this mirror was capable of restraining the goo. A proper reflection allowed her to be sent over as the man to obtain both the snipe and clam. Old monsters that lived for 100 years carefully planned and accounted, as expected. When Holy Mother Chi Xia emerged and spotted the 10,000-year goo demon, she showed a flabbergasted expression and unhideable happiness. She pointed, and several seals flew in every direction. There was a boom nearby, and 7 banners of different dazzling and glaring light unfurled at 7 corners. At the same time, there was a phoenix cry. 7 colored rainbow lights simultaneously appeared on the 7 banners, and this rainbow light flew out like a phoenix. Each of the banner's phoenixes simultaneously twisted their heads to look at the 10,000-year goo in the middle. Opening their beaks, they gathered a resplendent beam of light, as if something in their beaks was about to spray out. The 10,000-year goo was trapped by the rainbow light, furiously roaring without end. The black chi of its whole body burst out, and that myriad of black wisps and poison needle-like fur was like a hedgehog's as it contracted to form a shield. Black light flashed, and a layer of poison membrane instantly enshrouded it. At the same time, black light shot out and revolved around its body. When Su Xing saw this, his heart shuddered. This 10,000-year goo demon seemed to sense danger. It appeared to be somewhat wise, unexpectedly using a goo demon ability, arranging layer upon layer of defenses. Furthermore, when it saw Holy Mother Chi Xia's 7 banners, it also felt pressure. Perhaps this was Holy Mother Chi Xia's life cast move. Su Xing guessed correctly, for this was Holy Mother Chi Xia's Chi Xia banners. These banners were meticulously refined by Holy Mother Chi Xia, capable of offense and defense, of trapping and array breaking. This ability was omnipotent. When the Chi Xia banners emerged, that cultivator would be in the middle of her palm. The 7 banners glowed, already shooting light soundlessly. Unexpectedly, the 7 were seemingly tangible light pillars. The 7 multicolored light intersected with one another, becoming a resplendent rainbow. The light was the width of a bowl, and it flashed and faded, slamming into the black light of the goo demon. The multicolored light and the black light interwove, and the result was that the black light barely resisted for a brief moment. Then, it was struck full of hole like snow in the spring sun. Break! Holy Mother Chi Xia chanted. The 7 multicolored lights was weakened but not eliminated. It once again attacked the 10,000-year goo demon's poison membrane. Where it touched, the poison membrane boiled incessantly, as if it had been dissolved. That ugly and malevolent odd body of the 10,000-year Gu demon continuously struggled, and Holy Mother Chi Xia faintly said, "Change." The moment the multicolored light changed and struck the 10,000-year Gu demon's body, its two heads and limbs constantly struggled, but the 7 multicolored lights were just like stocks and chains, tightly trapping the 10,000-year Gu demon. Under the multiple colored lights' ravage, the 10,000-year Gu demon sharply howled in pain. A super void cultivator acting was formidable, as expected. It was only an instant, but she already stopped the 10,000-year Gu demon. Of course, this was related to Holy Mother Chi Xia's magic weapon. Even Su Xing looked enviously at those Chi Xia banners. Su Xing surreptitiously hooked onto the miraculous Bodhi tree with his divine intent. He currently hesitated as to whether or not he should act to interrupt Holy Mother Chi Xia. Allowing this terrifying Gu demon of 10,000 poisons in one body to be captured honestly was too dangerous. The reason why he did not act now was that his impression of Holy Mother Chi Xia was very good. In Su Xing's capacity as a soldier, Holy Mother Chi Xia had never shown malice. She had even given him more than 100,000 bells immortals due and became sworn sisters with Wu Xiao. Only this made Su Xing somewhat hesitant. That line in his heart still was somewhat difficult to change. Suddenly, Su Xing sensed the light-shifting image-switching mirror in his hand apparently was being sucked away by some immense force. Su Xing's hand clenched tight, and imbuing his star energy, only then did it finally quiet down. He spotted Holy Mother Chi Xia watch him, seemingly smiling yet not. Her expression was somewhat odd. Most probably, she was shocked Su Xing unexpectedly could restrict her divine intent control. Inwardly resentful, Su Xing coldly grinned, "Holy Mother, there is no need to be this wasteful of good feelings, unexpectedly fooling your servant with some item that can trap the Gu." This seat did not speak wrongly. Has your use of the light-shifting mirror now not stopped the Gu? Holy Mother Chi Xia actually seemed very amiable. Su Xing inwardly thought, "Fuck, this woman is greatly cunning. This seat does not see your wife? Is she not present?" Holy Mother Chi Xia leisurely looked at the far-off Lady Snake Scorpion, seemingly treating her as heir. When she looked at skillful star wanderer Yan Qing, she actually showed a hard-to-conceal odd expression. This light-shifting mirror only has its image-switching aspect as useful. You holding on to it is useless. Holy Mother Chi Xia smiled. Her words were very gentle, making Su Xing feel that if he did not return it to her, that truly was a reviled matter. Of course, in the eyes of others, a galaxy cultivator that dared seize a supervoid cultivator's magic weapon must be very amazing. But Su Xing secretly laughed. To this woman who used him like this, return the mirror to her? This sort of folly of being sold by someone and having to help them count the money, Su Xing certainly did not have interest in abiding. Although the star energy of a supervoid cultivator was extremely powerful, Su Xing basically lacked completely the grounds to retaliate. Even if he used the miraculous Bodhi tree, it would be futile. This mirror is actually profound. Could the Holy Mother lend it to your servant to feast his eyes upon? Just take it as allowing your servant to broaden his horizons. Su Xing said. Holy Mother Chi Xia stared blankly. This was the first time a galaxy cultivator dared to raise a request of her. Interesting. Holy Mother Chi Xia soon after threw it, and the image-switching mirror arrived in Su Xing's hand. With the gap between them, perhaps there would not be a supervoid cultivator that would fear a galaxy cultivator pulling some small trick. Holy Mother Chi Xia actually also was very fond of this man, so she saw no harm in doing so. Su Xing sized up the image-switching mirror in his hand. This mirror was like a shadow, for it just happened to be able to form a double-sided mirror when placed together with the shifting light mirror. Su Xing tested sending in a trace of divine intent. Astral treasures did not require refinement, so Su Xing could very easily sense the information of the light-shifting image-switching mirror. This mirror used the image-switching mirror to transfer, and the light-shifting mirror served as the destination. As long as it was not a special location, the user could instantly go straight between the two locations. However, using the light-shifting image-switching mirror had a condition that it could only be used once within a certain time. The transferring person needed to expend comparatively tremendous star energy, but that instant transfer actually made Su Xing's heart move instantly. He wondered how Holy Mother Qi Xia came to have such a mirror defiant of the natural order. Yan Yizhen at this time did not go attack Lady Snake Scorpion under Su Xing's surreptitious sound transmission, walking back to his side. This one is? Holy Mother Qi Xia showed slight astonishment as she looked at Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang. This is your servant's Star General Yan Qing. Su Xing replied, for he had no need to conceal it. As expected, sire is a Star Master. Holy Mother Qi Xia was not surprised. Hiss. The 10,000-year Gu demon sealed by Holy Mother Qi Xia produced a shrill scream, and Holy Mother Qi Xia glanced indifferently at it. She was slowly refining this 10,000-year Gu demon's energy, and later she could easily capture it. This seat had not thought it would be a 10,000-year Gu demon. Truly exceptional. Does Holy Mother need this Gu demon when she is this powerful? Su Xing's killing intent gradually withdrew because he saw that Holy Mother Qi Xia did not have any intent to be his enemy. Since she was not a foe, Su Xing naturally had not need to go provoke the trouble of a supervoid cultivator. The so-called one more friend was always more powerful than one more enemy. It being very weak is only because it has only been born. Infants are all feeble. Holy Mother Qi Xia flatly smiled. Su Xing pensively nodded. To be able to make a supervoid cultivator this tempted, this 10,000-year Gu demon perhaps was a fiendish demon. However, these had no relation to Su Xing. This was the Vermilion Bird Territory's affair, anyways. Should the heavens fall, there was still a transforming star of annihilation cultivator that would go resist. A tiny star master like himself had no need to go stand out, bringing trouble onto himself. On the other side, Lady Snake Scorpion was very resentful, but Holy Mother Qi Xia was supervoid level. How could she dare hurry? Otherwise, the other side could just destroy her by raising a hand. Holy Mother Qi Xia, what is the meaning of this snatching both the snipe and clam? Lady Snake Scorpion coldly said, this Gu demon certainly is not something you can enjoy. A heavy pressure crushed Lady Snake Scorpion. Mother Highness. Xie Bao bared her fangs, and the golden scorpion fine rain needles flew out. But it was struck down halfway by a multicolored light. Xie Bao also flew out. Basically without acting, the supervoid cultivator relied on star energy that was one with the world to be able to easily overturn Lady Snake Scorpion. For the sake of the Rock Demon King's face, this seat shall let you off. As for refining this demonic creature, it would be best to let this seat purify it. Holy Mother Qi Xia slightly smiled. What a Holy Mother Danxia. Lady Snake Scorpion's face was nearly green from fury. Do not think that this queen is easy to bully. Suddenly, Lady Snake Scorpion shouted, flipped her hand, and a bright divine sword of flashing starlight appeared. The Gu Valley of skyrocketing evil chi was immediately rolled away by starlight, and a galaxy sprinkled down. Stars falling dragon sword. Holy Mother Qi Xia shouted in astonishment. Without the slightest hesitation, she pointed, and a spiritual power pressed towards Lady Snake Scorpion. She wanted to restrict her, but Lady Snake Scorpion coldly laughed and brandished the stars falling dragon sword. Suddenly, a dragon roar shook the skies, and dragons filling the sky emerged as a sea. Su Xing thought to himself, fuck, with no choice but to painfully raise the 12 heaven tearings. It seemed this time, the damage was disastrous. After returning, it would require a long time to nurture the flying swords. Afterwards, he threw out every sort of protective artifact and talisman as if they were free change. As for using the miraculous Bodhi tree, Su Xing definitely did not think of doing good things. Right now, he looked forward to even more chaos. Holy Mother Qi Xia could not obtain the 10,000-year Gu demon, and it was best to destroy it. The golden swords became a shield, and Su Xing took the chance to store the shifting light image switching mirror into his bag. Yan Yizhen entered the star nest, for without the protection of a star beast, even she would be incapable of resisting the star's falling dragon sword. Holy Mother Qi Xia also promptly threw out a cloud cloak. The cloud cloak's light flourished and enveloped the Holy Mother in layer after layer. She looked askance at Su Xing and did not speak. The myriad dragons immediately engulfed the Gu Valley. The countless corpses of the poison creatures were immediately turned to ash and scattered smoke. The countless dragons easily ripped open all of Su Xing's defenses. Only by relying on the dragon-scale flying swords did he barely withstand it. Even so, Su Xing felt his body was about to be torn and his bones crushed. Damn it, this lady snake scorpion appeared to be thinking that if she could not obtain it, she might as well make others to be unable to as well. Have courage, I admire. Despite his admiration, Su Xing did not forget the terror of the star's falling dragon sword. Purple star-grade astral treasures in the star duels always were weapons of mass destruction. Possessing a powerful purple star astral treasure along with adequate martial force, star generals advancing the level of their star weapons could occupy a place to contend in the star duels. If they were not a complete star general with a terrifying star beast, a few star generals could not be an opponent. The 10,000 dragons of varied colors attacked like a tsunami wave after wave. He only heard dragon roars in his ears, a desperately earth-shattering power. Holy Mother Qi Xia's multicolored light barriers broke layer by layer, the light distorting. Even a supervoid cultivator's magic weapon barely resisted. In addition, Holy Mother Qi Xia's life-cast magic weapon Qi Xia banners was mighty as expected, but seeing those 7 banners revolve, they rolled a 7-colored rainbow light formed a light barrier to trap the 10,000-year Gu demon within. Holy Mother Qi Xia's light barrier was being slammed to the verge of collapse. Refining the 10,000-year Gu demon on one hand while also defending against the star's falling dragon sword on the other, even if Holy Mother Qi Xia's grand as the starry sky's star energy would not hold out for too long. Lady Snake Scorpion used the star's falling dragon also to engage in one last battle. Each wave was 10,000 bells immortals due entering her throat. Holy Mother Qi Xia tested to release an artifact and several abilities, but they had only just left the protection of the multicolored light when they were torn to pieces by the myriad dragons, a spectacle too horrible to endure. Su Xing, my boy, are there any magic weapons you still have not used? Otherwise, it certainly would be too late. Holy Mother Qi Xia struck several hand seals, and the dazzling lights entered the Qi Xia banners and protective multicolored lights. Holy Mother Qi Xia's expression began to become grim. Seeing Su Xing unexpectedly still able to resist, she immediately smiled. Why would Holy Mother say this? Su Xing grave. With his flying swords broke, the profound star barrier's white light flared and fought the dragons, but the profound star barrier's cracks were increasingly many. It looked as if it would not hold out for too long. To be able to be this self-confident, has this seat seen wrongly? Holy Mother Qi Xia said. Su Xing was silent. A ripping sound entered their ears. Tears already appeared in those Qi Xia banners. Holy Mother Qi Xia's expression changed, and her tone was no longer that unperturbed as before. How about this, then? Su Xing, my boy, so long as you help this seat refine this 10,000-year Gu demon, seeing as my boy and little sister are so affectionate, how about taking that light-shifting image-switching mirror as a gift this seat sends to little sister and her husband? Seeing that Lady Snake Scorpion continuously urged the star's falling dragon sword's power, Holy Mother Qi Xia no longer hesitated. Although the shifting light image-switching mirror was a heavenly spirit-grade astral treasure, it was not too useful to her. This thing was obtained from a purple star-grade chest. It was originally an object that connected Star Master and Star General, and Holy Mother Qi Xia holding onto it was unnecessary. Now, she completely did not hesitate to use it for a business transaction. Compared to obtaining the 10,000-year Gu demon, what did this shifting light image-switching mirror count as? Su Xing rolled his eyes. He indeed was endlessly tempted by the shifting light image-switching mirror, but he also very much did not want to turn the 10,000-year Gu demon to Holy Mother Qi Xia. He could not feel at ease if this terrifying Gu demon were to be turned over to anyone. Your servant fears that he is powerless to refine this Gu demon, but your servant is somewhat sure he can temporarily suppress the falling dragon sword. Su Xing's implication was that he would not help her obtain the 10,000-year Gu, that he could only inhibit the falling dragon sword. The rest was up to her luck. Good. Holy Mother Qi Xia said without the slightest hesitation. Seeing this, Su Xing reacted instantly and flipped his wrist. A green jade-like branch appeared in his hand, and Holy Mother Qi Xia's eyes immediately glinted when she saw it, showing a trace of excitement. However, that immediately was eliminated. Su Xing sneered to himself and instantly swished the miraculous Bodhi tree in succession. A large expanse of the divine light of clear drizzle and propitious vapors was like a surging magic cloud, blowing over the Gu Valley. The sword of falling dragon wreaking havoc was swept away by the clear light as if it had been trapped by the propitious cloud, suppressing the dragon's devastation, but the miraculous Bodhi tree's divine light not only pushed down the falling dragon sword, Su Xing also meticulously did not pull back the miraculous Bodhi tree's divine light, swiping away those Qi Xia banners as well. Originally, how could that tottering Qi Xia banner hold back the miraculous Bodhi tree's swiping? The 7-colored banners released a vibrating cry, and the rainbow light immediately broke. Holy Mother Qi Xia's expression slightly changed. Apologies, Holy Mother, that this miraculous Bodhi tree breaks 10,000 techniques cannot be helped by your servant, Su Xing candidly said. Holy Mother Qi Xia grunted, not saying anything. She seized on the chance that the falling dragon sword was being suppressed. The Holy Mother pointed at the same time, and at this moment, the listless 10,000-year Gu demon shouted and screamed. Su Xing's figure moved and rushed to attack the 10,000-year Gu demon. The 10,000-year Gu demon opened its large mouth, firing countless poison needles. An arm that was like a centipede rolled towards Su Xing. Su Xing swiped the miraculous Bodhi tree. The blue light rays were clear, easily brushing forwards. This miraculous Bodhi tree deserved to be called a cheat hack, for swiping it was too wonderful for words. A light swish could break 10,000 techniques. In the previous phase, Su Xing practically succeeded in every endeavor, but the miraculous Bodhi tree required too enormous a star energy. Swiping to now, Su Xing's more than 100,000 bells immortals due was nearly depleted. The divine light restricted the 10,000-year Gu demon, and the 1,000-year contract's intertwined branch sword held in Su Xing's hand stabbed forth. Although the 10,000-year Gu demon was of copper hide and iron bone, it certainly had a weak spot. Su Xing aimed at that ugly mouth of the 10,000-year Gu denib and stabbed. Su Xing was just like he wanted to pierce through the 10,000-year Gu demon, forcefully stabbing. The expressions of Holy Mother Qi Xia and the Lady Snake Scorpion changed. Fortunately, green light only flashed on the 10,000-year Gu demon's body. The scorpion tail on the 10,000-year Gu demon's rear swiftly stuck over and forced Su Xing to dodge. This sword stab did not yield any results either. When Holy Mother Qi Xia saw, her sleeve fanned, and a shuttle-shaped multicolored light hastily flew over from the horizon. In the blink of an eye, it arrived over the 10,000-year Gu demon's head. The shuttle-shaped multicolored light split against the wind, becoming a light net covering the skies and the earth that covered the Gu demon from above. The Gu demon bored into the earth, its 4 claws shoveling dirt, and it instantly entered the underground. Holy Mother Qi Xia's cloud-catching bag, too, fell onto empty space. Inferior animal, you dare run. Holy Mother Qi Xia's face turned cold. Her legs stamped, and the earth jolted as an incorporeal spiritual pressure directly poured in. It shook the 10,000-year Gu demon out. This Gu demon was a monkey, yet it had some intelligence. Being refined by the Qi Xia banners, it already lost its previous close quarters fighting drive. Whatever desire to kill it had was gone. It spread its wings and flew towards the airspace over Gu Valley, unexpectedly preparing to flee. Thinking of running? Holy Mother Qi Xia flew over. Lady Snake Scorpion saw this, once again brandished the falling dragon sword. Seeing her face was pale, she was too weak to support it. Evidently, she was an arrow at the end of its path using the star falling dragon sword. The purple star-grade astral treasure was like this. It was not something to be used arbitrarily just by continuously replenishing star energy. It far exceeded the realms of cultivators, and frequently using it would greatly harm vitality. Su Xing at this time also hastily pursued. The profound star barrier's light erupted, and the barrier instantly shattered. Wu Song accept death. At this moment, the outside of the Jade Alum Palace was a mess. The Supervoid Cultivators' war had destroyed Gecko Cliff, and the Supercluster ancestors acting to search for the Goo Palace also was to wantonly destroy things. The entire huge Jade Alum Palace and the 5 poison halls collapsed in a landslide, loudly toppling over. It was just that Lady Snake Scorpion had already foreseen this. The Goo Valley had been sealed in an underground palace, so even if things were shaken flat, the entirety of the Jade Alum Palace could not possibly be discovered. Wu Xiao straddled the white and black unicorn tiger, rushing over there, and unfortunately ran into Envious of the East. The war between Envious of the East and Zhongqi ended when the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators' simultaneous attack made Zhongqi defeated. Furthermore, 5 Poisons Mountain nevertheless was leveled by the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators. How could the 5 great demi-kings and the multitude of demi-soldiers resist such ruin? It was the total defeat of their army. Currently, when Envious of the East wantonly searched for the 10,000-year Goo and could not find the way forward was wholeheartedly furious, he unexpectedly saw Wu Xiao approaching from the horizon. When he saw the white and black unicorn tiger, Envious of the East was suddenly indignant. Wu Song killing Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity certainly was the hatred of a generation, particularly when that prehistoric spirit treasure Miraculous Bodhi Tree had also been stolen. This spirit treasure originally was given to Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity for use to guard the sect. Even if the Supervoid founders in seclusion were absent, Envious of the East on the one hand wanted to take back the Miraculous Bodhi Tree while on the other really did not expect to take Wusong's white and black unicorn tiger. The foes saw each other, each covetous. Envious of the East's heaven and earth spiritual power squeezed. The white and black unicorn tiger's white light erupted, for the 7th rank spirit beast was far from surrendering from just the spiritual power of a supervoid. Seeing this, Envious of the East's hands flew through hand seals. Suddenly, more than 100 flying swords simultaneously flew towards the sky. Instantly, 2 clumps of dazzling blue light burst in the sky, forming 2 several zhang long immense azure swords. Their cold light was thick, and then they eerily flashed in his eyes. Silently opening his mouth, 2 clumps of green chi slipped out, each spraying onto one of the giant swords. Upon touching the green chi, the giant swords in the sky brilliantly glowed. Rapidly falling following a light cry, they aggressively slashed towards the white and black unicorn tiger and Wu Xiao in the white light. Bang bang, 2 enormous noises sounded. The immense swords fiercely struck onto the white light. Green rays and white light interweaved, but the 2 swords barely pressed several inches into the white light, bouncing bluntly back. Seeing this scene, Envious of the East was stunned. Wu Xiao's eyes showed a slight mocking expression. The white and black unicorn tiger's mouth roared, and it spat out a beam of resplendent light. This beam directly pressed onto the primordial boundless swords. Wu Xiao's figure also flickered, directly leaving the white and black unicorn tiger. She soared into the air, the noble frost demonic lotus like ink and snow, its sword light radiantly reflecting. When Envious of the East saw this, his expression sunk. His hands quickly flew through seals, rushing lightly for the group of swords. Suddenly, green clouds flashed by, and each flying sword ejected 3 identical sword lights. Originally, there were 100 green rays, and now, they became thousands upon thousands of sword lights. The flock of swords had doubled their power in an instant. Afterwards, Envious of the East then flung his green robes, and his mouth densely spat the word, "Go." The moment this sound was uttered, every sword light obediently split to the extremes of left and right, becoming 2 lines, splitting the original things into 2 sides. The 2 eaves of flying swords instantly bound with the sword lights into one. The green light shuddered, and the swords transformed into a mysterious sword array, separately breaking for the sky. Wu Xiao and the white and black unicorn tiger rushed ahead at the same time, apparently unconcerned. The offensive of the Harm Star Pilgrim and the white and black unicorn tiger madly swelled, breaking envious of the East's flying swords. Using flying swords to go obstruct a star general of superb martial force, especially the Wusong who possessed the white and black unicorn tiger spirit beast. The envious of the East who had just consumed his vigor in a war with Zhongqi just now had no solution. Only when envious of the East's spiritual power wildly pressured them did he finally stop Wusong's counterattack. He was angry. "Wusong, this senior must kill you today. See if you have any ability to go stop this senior's dual-mode profound dust sword array." 3. Forming a hand seal, the scattered thousand sword lights all of a sudden combined and wrapped Wu Xiao tightly. All sides were a boundless green light, limitless. The weather turned gloomy, seemingly pressing over. Even Wu Xiao felt she had been trapped, and her heart shuddered. The 1,000 golden lights in the sky turned. Suddenly they rolled out a cool breeze, and a green light and mysterious wind bubbled forth at the same time. In the middle of the array, Wu Xiao already could not see her hands in front of her. The light obscured everything in a range of 3 zhang, and the middle of the array was ferocious. The sword's cold, twisting wind whistled, and even a star general as valiant as Wu Xiao had been attacked by the wind. Her whole body was cold, and muttering to herself this was not good, she circulated her star energy to protect her body. The heaven and earth profound dust array's middle vaguely rumbled with the sounds of thunder. Envious of the East was just like he was already outside of the sword array, not a trace to be seen. Wu Xiao's thin eyes watched, suddenly spotting a green qi rising in the center of the array. The jade light twinkled, as if there was a dark cloud rolling around in the center. Soon after, the faintly shaking jade wave surged for the heavens. The sword light apparently was finished charging and was idle, the tip hidden, the fiercest danger in the middle. Wu Xiao drew in breath. Wu Xiao watched for several breaths. Suddenly, she slashed empty space with the noble frost demonic lotus in her hand, at the same time stamping with her leg, shouting, "Tai!" Ink and snow sword light slashed 1,000 pieces. Heaven fell and earth rend, walla, walla. This green light was boundless and gloomy between heaven and earth. Suddenly, countless cracks appeared, and then it was just like a smashed mirror, falling down piece by piece, shattering. But in the blink of an eye, green light again revolved. The sword light wrapped around the green light and bubbled from all sides, just like a tide. When Xian Zhenzi, Queen Lady of Ice, and the other remaining ancestors saw this, they were fully aware of the power of the dual mode's profound dust sword array, all of them promptly retreating 3 qi, glancing at each other. For envious of the East to unexpectedly use such a killing array now, it seems he is staking everything on this. Xian Zhenzi's tone slightly sighed, but it was unknown whether it was a lament or a sob. The dual mode's profound dust sword array was but envious of the East's top power, somewhat more powerful than any flying sword, magic weapon, spirit treasure, or astral treasure. When this sword array appeared, nearly no one could escape. Even supercluster late-stage level ancestors like Xian Zhenzi were intimidated at first glance. It seemed that envious of the East did not dare be careless, already using his full power from just a few face-to-face meetings. They knew his intent to kill was absolute. Will his handling a star general like this provoke the Liangshan Maiden? Queen Lady of Ice wrinkled her brow. Liangshan Maiden, When the other ancestors heard this name, each of their expressions were difficult. Perhaps to the majority of scattered star cultivators or lower-level cultivators, the Liangshan Maiden was probably even more like a spectator, an indifferent one. But if one were to have awesome military glory, they would lack fear and take her to be a joke. However, with regards to the 10 great sex peak ancestors, that simply was a legend. Their cultivations were profound, so naturally they were clear about the Liangshan Maiden's might. In the previous generations of star duels, there was no lack of great cultivators that ignored Maiden Mountain and wished to challenge its dignity, but their names were never remembered by people because they perished and were scattered like ash and smoke. It appears that envious of the East wants to kill Wu Song to promote his reputation in Liangshan. That star beast truly makes people envious. The Red Lotus Fairy sneered. Legend said that Maiden Mountain, for the sake of preserving fairness in the star duels and to avoid other cultivators spying, would send down its star guard, and documents did not lack this sort of record either. Although it was unknown whether it was a falsehood or an exaggeration of the star duels, while maintaining a prudent thinking of believing it to be true rather than not, the ancestors would not place themselves at risk. However, the star duels had another rule. Star generals also could not infringe on the interests of other people, otherwise retaliatory killing was considered fair. Wu Song apparently killed Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity, an ancestral master of the most high path. According to common sense, Envious of the East carrying out a vendetta was within reason. It was just that they just did not know whether Wu Song had committed an offense, or if the latter was courting death. Seeing the heaven and earth profound dust sword array trap Wu Song, their hearts knew that the harmed star would die without doubt. At this time, they suddenly heard a hissing howl, like the moans of ghosts and the wails of spirits. The sound was sharp and ear-piercing, like a demonic noise. All of the ancestors turned their heads to look, and they saw an unremarkable mountain range suddenly explode. A black light soared into the sky, dazzling the eyes of all the ancestors. When they saw this creature, their hearts were astounded. That monster truly was bizarre to the limit. 2 monkey heads, with a horn and fangs, eyes that released a bloody color, for arms extending past the knees, fur like needles, with 100 feet of a centipede winding across its body, a scorpion tail at its rear, and a snake tongue flicking in and out. Its back had bat wings, its whole body enveloped in poison light and toxic gas from head to foot, with poison fog and miasma swirling around. It practically was a 10,000 poison. 10,000-year goo demon. Xianzhenzi all of a sudden shouted. Several more figures and multicolored light flew out from beneath the 10,000-year goo demon. When the ancestors saw this 10,000-year goo demon, it appeared to be unable to withstand another blow. At such a 10,000-year goo demon that could at any time be inserted with essence blood and controlled, they completely lacked hesitation and rushed over towards the goo demon overjoyed. Every sort of ability, seal, and magic weapon simultaneously flew out. They wanted to capture this 10,000-year goo demon in the first moments, and even the most cold as Ice Queen Lady of Ice was incapable of restraining herself, fully using her dark ice. The injured and recuperating Zhong Qi at this time saw the 10,000-year goo demon also with a glint in his eye, and he joined the camp that fought over it. This unbearably ugly, sinister as a demon, completely covered in vile air 10,000-year goo demon was just like it had become an appetizer everyone fought over, a scene extremely spectacular. When Envious of the East saw the 10,000-year goo demon, he also was wild with joy, but he was bitterly using the dual mode's profound dust sword array to trap Wu Xiao and was incapable of moving. He could only watch helplessly as they fought wildly, his heart anxious. Continuously urging the sword array with hand seals, he shouted, "Pilgrim Wu Song, you had better quickly return to Maiden Mountain." Yet the Wu Xiao in the middle of the heaven and earth profound dust sword array only felt an extremely large pressure pushing in her face, making her feel stifled. Her breathing was not smooth, and her heart only felt incomparably oppressed, put on as it hopped. The sword light in the middle of the array was like a golden snake wildly dancing. The green light roared, heaven and earth rippled, and a thunderclap roused. As a supervoid-level cultivator, Envious of the East sword array was the so-called tyrannical. The boundless gives birth to the supreme ultimate. The supreme ultimate becomes the dual modes. Envious of the East's dual modes profound dust sword array was abstruse, the sword light sweeping from the 4 cardinal directions like a cool breeze. They shot directly to the Wu Xiao at the array's center, leaving her without a place to run. Wu Xiao was a peak star general, and knowing how formidable this was, she suddenly shouted and resisted brilliantly with the white and black unicorn tiger, starlight shining. In front of them, every sort of brilliance undulated back and forth. First, they blocked the sword lights coming from the 4 directions, but Envious of the East's sword array was like a tide, each wave fiercer than the last. After several sword tides, those joined together, and the sword light directly smashed apart their star energy defenses. Immediately, the sword light eliminated the 4 seasons. Envious of the East once again urged the sword chant, and linked it with a wave of the sword array. Then he launched a wave-like swordlight that grew from small to large. The next wave of swordlight already shot to Wu Xiao's side. Envious of the East's dual mode's profound dust sword array was known as the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 flying sword killing array. Once entered, no one could escape. To be trapped in the sword array's center, it was expected that escape required exceptional powers, and that still was not easy. Furthermore, when Envious of the East urged the sword array, his supervoid-level star energy indeed was endlessly might, shaking heaven and earth. It was a pity that his battle with Zhongqi was tremendous, for his energy was greatly consumed. Otherwise, if Envious of the East was at peak cultivation, the moment the sword array emerged, it was practically comparable to the purple star-grade astral treasure 1000 stars good fortune sword. 2. The white and black unicorn tiger loudly roared. Its body trembled, and its white fur launched bursts of white light. This light was sharp as a blade, colliding with the sword light rolling over. There was a rumble, and the profound dust sword light and white light simultaneously were exploded into fine dust. But the dual mode's profound dust sword array's next wave of sword light was but an instant. Soon after, the 7th wave and the 8th wave of sword light came one after the other. Wu Xiao and the white and black unicorn tiger were already forced to mental and physical exhaustion, arrows at the end of their path. Envious of the East knew of Wu Song's might. Mighty was the Harm Star's fame for fighting prowess, and he wanted to get this done quickly. He was deliberately placing Wu Xiao into her final resting place. Launching the sword chant in succession, the tidal sword light was endless, increasingly fierce. How could the white and black unicorn tiger still be able to resist the sword light? When several waves of sword light passed, it was immediately bruised over its whole body, howling in anguish. It was directly stored into the star world by Wu Xiao. Losing the 7th rank spirit beast's divine light that she relied on, Wu Xiao's figure immediately seemed lonely, one that had difficulty supporting itself. Wu Song, just allow Envious to send you back to Maiden Mountain, to free you of these star duels. Envious of the East shouted. Hua hua, the sword light swept over. Wu Xiao barely blocked. She did everything she could to move forward, but the green light all around was boundless. She could not find a way out, nor could she discern a direction. The sword light again rolled, and Wu Xiao did not have even the strength to grasp the noble frost demonic lotus. If she did not rely on the 3-star destined weapon in addition to plain star energy and the support of a star beast, any other weaker star general would already be ash. The next wave of sword light whooshed over, and Wu Xiao was certain to be finished. Just at this moment, suddenly, the boundless sword light in one direction abruptly was washed open by divine light. That point of divine light grew from small to large, instantly breaking open a hole. Seeing an auspicious cloud roll, auspicious light twinkle, Wu Xiao showed surprise. Suddenly, a hand pierced through the green vastness and extended, the palm open. Wu Xiao did not hesitate at all, grabbing onto that hand with her own. Boom! The powerful force seemingly was overwhelming, also seemingly dispelling clouds to reveal the sun. Wu Xiao suddenly saw clear sky and white mist. Astonishingly, she had been pulled out of the dual mode's profound dust sword array. Wu Xiao looked and saw a warm smile. Never before had this happened. Wu Xiao felt this man smiling like this made her feel relieved. Who was he? Su Xing, the miraculous Bodhi tree. Envious of the East saw that treasure tree's jade light lingered. It broke the sword array, and his expression was unsightly to the extreme. Without any hesitation at all, his flying sword slashed. Su Xing was naturally aware of a supervoid cultivator's might, and he swished the miraculous Bodhi tree. Divine light attacked, and the flying swords were restricted. You truly have done more than what is required, not fighting over that 10,000-year Gu demon and instead saving your servant. Wu Xiao looked at Su Xing, her tone slightly loud. She could also tell the 10,000-year Gu demon turned from a Gu into a demon. Already, it could be captured at any moment, and with Su Xing's capabilities, he would be enough to snatch away this 10,000-year Gu demon first. Then, their trip to this Five Poisons mountain would not have been in vain, but Su Xing gave up the readily available 10,000-year Gu demon to confront a super void cultivator with her. This honestly made Wu Xiao feel, within reason, outside of expectations. Xiao, you are my wifey. When wifey is in trouble, how can I watch with folded arms? Su Xing made a hooked smile, as it should have been by rights. A clever mouth and a honeyed tongue. Wu Xiao snorted. Although she feigned indifference, her eyes showed she was actually somewhat fond of it. You adulterous couple even dare to be so intimate before this senior? How can this senior ever keep down this resentment if he does not kill you today? Seeing the opponents unexpectedly use Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity's prehistoric spirit treasure to confront him, he truly was close to blowing his top. Do you truly still want to kill? Your servant fears you will be unable to cope with us in a short while. If you do not go, the others certainly will take the 10,000-year Gu demon. You plotted so actively, and you would give such benefit to someone else, would you be so resigned? Su Xing was calm. Swishing the miraculous Bodhi tree, he confined Envious of the East's flying swords. Envious of the East was infinitely torn, somewhat worried of his gains and losses. Immediately, his eyes were cold. Today, I shall let you die in the name of love, you cheating couple. Your servant is here, how could she allow you to humiliate Lord Husband? Wu Xiao coldly shouted like exploding thunder. Immediately, she alarmed Five Poisons Mountain into staring in astonishment. The Harm Star Pilgrim's Lord Husband Wu Xiao's words shocked the plains. The remaining cultivators of Five Poison Mountain were all top-notch, and hearing Wu Xiao's words, their hearts rolled in heaven's startling waves. Just what was happening to these ninth-generation star duels? It was enough that the Lin Chong that never signed contracts had signed a contract with the Purple Thunder monster of unimaginable powers. Now, that even the second 1,000 years without a contract Wu Song would recognize a Lord Husband was honestly inconceivable. Just what virtue and capability does that man have, unexpectedly able to make Wu Song fall in love and marry him? Ancestor Longevity said on one hand while gesturing incessantly with the other. He glanced at Envious of the East side, and seeing Su Xing's cultivation was only galaxy early stage, he did not seem to be of the unparalleled genius type. The miraculous Bodhi tree? Could it be he and Wu Song joined together to kill Extreme Clarity? Xian Jinzi muttered to himself. He probably is Wu Song's star master. The Red Lotus Fairy chuckled. This man actually is somewhat manly, unexpectedly daring to contend against Envious of the East. He thinks that he can contend when Lin Chong has him, the Purple Thunder monster? Even if he truly was the Purple Thunder monster, he would undoubtedly die. Queen Lady of Ice did not say anything, but her expression already agreed with the fairy's words. Although everyone saw Su Xing's body wore a purple domain robe, was wound around with auspicious purple clouds, and had purple light fluttering, he was actually somewhat similar to the imposing manner of the legendary Purple Thunder monster. However, the legendary Purple Thunder monster did not have purple clothes, so they took him to be a copycat. Add on the fact they did not see the Purple Thunder monster's brilliant and famous star general, the majestic Star Panther head Lin Chong, they naturally felt he was someone else. This ninth generation truly is interesting. Lin Chong has signed a contract, and Wu Song is unwilling to remain lonely. Ancestor Longevity laughed aloud. The 10,000-year Gu loudly bellowed, shaking out a multitude of poison gas. The ancestors no longer paid attention to Envious of the East and Wu Xiao. Although their hearts coveted the miraculous Bodhi tree, they knew that with Envious of the East present, it was not something they could obtain. Their hearts hoped even more that Wu Song and her Lord Husband could resist and stall Envious of the East a little longer. Not only them, but Lady Snake Scorpion felt even more startled. However, Lady Snake Scorpion's degree of shock was even more extreme than the others. Others only took Su Xing to be Wu Song's star master, but she had seen the skillful star as well as another flit by, seemingly a star general that was a little. Lady Snake Scorpion then knew that his man's star nest had 2 star generals. Lady Snake Scorpion had a premonition that the man in front of her would someday be a powerful enemy in the star duels. She had a secret intent to kill him, but now that the 10,000-year goo demon in front of her, she could only restrain that desire to kill. Killing that man in the future would not be easy at all. In the contest over the 10,000-year goo demon, Lady Snake Scorpion's cultivation was the lowest. However, she was the Rock Demon King's wife. She had a lot of odd protective treasures as well as many high-grade and supreme-grade talismans. The scene of the squabble over the 10,000-year goo demon was extremely good to watch. Perhaps such a wonderful scene was difficult to come by in 1,000 years of Liangshan. The Golden Crow's divine flame of Zhongqi became a golden net that incessantly wrapped the 10,000-year goo demon, but a 7-colored light was unhurriedly released and condensed into a colorful lotus. Its rainbow light was 100 zhong, blocking the Golden Crow's divine flame net. Qi Xia's light covered it from the top and restricted it as they struggled against each other. Another completely pitch-black sword with unsharpened edges struck towards the 10,000-year goo demon. Subsequently, it was covered by a clear and lingering halo but did not give in the slightest. The halo's clear light did not yield either, transforming into a light that rolled forth. The red lotus karma fire poured down torrents of fiery on the spot, but it was trapped by ice-cold smoke. After this, a multitude of golden scorpion fine rain needles and the Lady Snake Scorpion's high-grade talismans also were unwilling to be left out. They saw every kind of the 5 poisons that was on the 5 poisons mountain with non-dispersing black smoke. All kinds of divine lights emerged in succession, destroyed like waves of rainbows on the horizon. Every sort of magic weapon and power came and went, was pushed and repelled, recalled on contact. Immediately, they twisted again, coming and going, growing without end, fighting busily. The 5 poisons mountains rainbow illuminated in all 4 directions, disturbing a range of 10,000 li. Each cultivator was unwilling to give up. They wanted to take up the best position for the 10,000-year goo demon, and with the 10,000-year goo demon being trapped in the middle, unable to break free, everywhere was entirely filled with every sort of magic weapon and divine light. The 10,000-year goo demon wanted to break through, but it often encountered a rainbow light and was repelled. The fangs of the 2 monkey heads extended and retracted, its poison light flourishing, with no choice but to cry where it was in tears. Shenjinzi, what does your true immortal's hall want a fearful creature like this 10,000-year goo demon for? Ancestor Longevity shouted, quickly recall your immortal moving hoop, otherwise, do not blame this ancestor for becoming hostile. The 10,000-year goo demon has 10,000 poisons. Even if this fearful creature is not raised, if it is refined into a magic weapon puppet or magic potion, that is still an exceptional thing. Ancestor Longevity, what grand dreams are you having? You had best recall your soul's scattering sword. 2. The 2 ancestors promptly greatly aroused their star energies, acting all out. It would be better for everyone to divide the 10,000-year goo demon. Seeing that it has 2 heads and 4 arms, there is enough for us to share. The Red Lotus Fairy smiled. What do you say, Queen Lady of Ice? The Queen Lady of Ice fighting with her did not utter a word. Some supercluster ancestors having designs on the 10,000-year goo demon, truly you are very brazen. Holy Mother Qi Xia coldly laughed. She could only stake all of her magic energy to go battle, to be able to obtain what she wanted. Would it not be better to yield to your servant? Suddenly, a soft and melodious voice entered everyone's ears. Afterwards, they saw a dragon's shadow unleashed. This dragon was like a strange beast, pitch black like ink. It suddenly opened its mouth wide, that maw big enough seemingly to swallow the 5 poisons mountain whole. Everyone turned dumbstruck. The horizon had a woman, stepping over on clouds. The 5 poisons mountains battle over the 10,000-year goo demon was so fierce, Su Xing had expanded his horizons. Only, it was a pity he could not personally go in and participate. Otherwise, with the miraculous Bodhi tree in hand, he definitely could add himself. Wifey, you're so aggressive. Su Xing was unable to conceal his happiness, seeing Wu Xiao's declaration. Your servant naturally does not wish to owe you a favor, Wu Xiao said in a low voice. She raised the noble frost demonic lotus and skyrocketed, sword lights sweeping away everywhere, black demonic lotuses scattering. Good, good, good. This senior did not expect this generation's Wusong to unexpectedly be a galaxy early-stage cultivator's wife. Truly, this is too good. Envious of the East laughed. His eyes mocked them, and his flying sword unambiguously transformed into 1,000 sword lights. The miraculous Bodhi tree's green light swept, breaking them layer by layer. The dual-mode profound dust sword array could only activate once within a certain time period, and Envious of the East was powerless to continue it. Seeing this, his heart truly wished to skin Su Xing alive. Seeing Su Xing at this time swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree as well as Wu Xiao seized the chance to advance, Envious of the East's spiritual pressure pressed back, and he leaked a bit of cold sweat. Today, this senior shall help you become a happily married couple that died in the name of love. Envious of the East saw the 10,000-year Gu demon was in imminent danger, and although he saw Wu Xiao needed support against his sword array, he was also nearly exhausted. Gritting his teeth, he then flipped his hand, and a completely jade seal appeared in his hand. This jade seal had carved onto it reliefs of the 4 types of spirit beasts: the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black turtle. They were vivid and lifelike, ready to appear at a call. The 4 spirit beasts were adjacent to one another, each watching one of the 4 cardinal directions of north, east, south, and west. Blue light, red light, white light, and black light alternated emerged from to time, honestly breathtaking beyond compare, the peak of perfection. Su Xing's heart sunk. He felt that the spiritual energy of that jade seal with the 4 symbols was threatening. Unexpectedly, it was abundant, flooding a range of 100 meters with its ancient presence. Su Xing knew this was another prehistoric spirit treasure. To die under this senior's 4-symbol seal, you ought to die happy. Envious of the East coldly laughed and threw the jade seal. That jade seal's 4-colored light suddenly burst, and the 4 spirit beasts on the jade seal twinkled with 4 types of radiance. A white light flashed, and then it concentrated and dispersed. A white tiger appeared, followed by a red light similar to flames that transformed into a vermilion bird. Then, an azure, 100 chi long cloud-turning dragon and serpentine and turtle-like black tortoise emerged. Astonishingly, these were great and renowned astral 4 symbols holy beasts. These 4 spirit beasts of course were not holy beasts in of themselves, they merely had a trace of true spirit, but the aura they emitted still made Su Xing's body incapable of budging, as if his arms and legs had been trapped. Indeed, they were astonishing. No wonder the most high path was the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 sect. Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity already had a prehistoric spirit treasure, the miraculous Bodhi tree, that could break everything endlessly, but this 4-symbol seal of Envious of the East was only stronger than the miraculous Bodhi tree, not weaker. These holy beasts in appearance only dare to bare their fangs and claws. A bluff. Wu Xiao's voice resounded, jolting Su Xing back to his senses. Su Xing was inwardly ashamed of his inferiority, however, this was not something he could help. Su Xing was merely galaxy early stage. How could he possibly bear the prehistoric spirit treasures supervoid cultivators like this at the current stage? From another perspective, to bear hardship with equanimity under such a spirit treasure, star generals were existences that star cultivators would catch up to even with encouragement. Seeing Su Xing back to his senses, Wu Xiao surreptitiously nodded. "Lord husband, leave these holy beasts to your servant." Arrogant. Envious of the East formed 4 hand seals. The imposing restless azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black turtle immediately surged forth directly towards them. The azure dragon sprayed out 10,000 zhang of green light, the white tiger's claws sharp as swords stabbed at their hearts, the vermilion bird fanned sky-boiling flames, and the black tortoise violently charged. Su Xing swung the tree 3 times in order to barely break the green light and heavenly fire of the azure dragon and vermilion bird, but the white tiger and black tortoise completely ignored the divine light. The white tiger opened its mouth, biting, and the black tortoise charged at Wu Xiao. The white tiger's chi swallowed the mountains and rivers. Wu Xiao barely could withstand it, but the black tortoise fiercely attacked from another side. Wu Xiao already was spent. Being knocked into by the black tortoise's attack, she actually was forced back several dozen meters. Then, the black tortoise spat out a light to cover Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao used the noble frost demonic lotus to block and was forced back again. The four great holy beasts continuously attacked viciously, and the miraculous Bodhi tree was nearly exhausted. Master, allow slave servant to fight. Yan Yizhen worried inside the star nest. If it was not for Su Xing's order, she already would have rushed out of the star nest. Little E recuperate first? Su Xing refused, knowing that little E had spent much strength confronting the lady snake scorpion. Even if these four great holy beasts had only a wisp of true energy, there was no way to resist. Furthermore, he had another plan to let Yan Yizhen act as a surprise attacker to kill Envious of the East when he was unprepared. Star generals often had an extreme superiority in this aspect. Envious of the East sneered. He did not believe that Su Xing could contend against the four-symbol seal. Even if he could swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree, in the end, there was a limit. Seeing Wu Xiao bitterly resist, Su Xing suddenly recalled something. His hand then patted his astral bag, and a talisman hopped out. This talisman, its script flying and black chi overflowing, seemed extremely demonic. Spotting that talisman, Envious of the East showed a surprised expression. God Transformation Talisman. Su Xing stuck the talisman to his stomach. The overflowing black chi flashed, and the talisman shattered and dissolved into Su Xing's body. Then, his whole body flashed a black light, and he suddenly breathed out black chi. An ominous shadow of a death god enveloped his body. Su Xing felt a burst of painful burning behind him, as if his tunic was about to shatter. Su Xing had forgotten to store the purple domain robe and revealed an extremely crimson upper body. Immediately afterwards, he saw the flesh of his upper body was completely blood red. Strange markings appeared, continuously spreading, filling out his body, black patterns and a layer of black light protecting his body. At this time, Su Xing gave people a sort of incomparably sinister, imposing feeling. His 10 fingers were sharp, transformed into sharpened fingernails. Su Xing only felt a type of vigorous power about to break out of his body. The cute pain. So powerful. The God Transformation Talisman was one of Liangshan continent's strange talismans, known as the supreme grade talisman most close to super talisman. To make one, it reportedly needed an 8th or 9th rank demon beast's soul to pass through many layers of refinement layered onto the caster's body. Thus, it allowed the caster's martial force to greatly increase, his cultivation to tremendously rise. Besides the God Transformation Talisman, there was also the Spirit Transformation Talisman that allowed star energy to greatly increase. Su Xing's eyes revealed an ominous glint. His imposing air was just as if the Supervoid cultivator was incapable of suppressing it. Envious of the East was well aware of the God Transformation Talisman's might. This type of supreme-grade talisman could make a cultivator transform into a killer monster. Normal magic weapons could be easily torn to shreds. In the previous star duels, as a matter of fact, there was a star general very weak in martial force that relied on the God Transformation Talisman, thus getting rid of several star generals strong in martial force. It was not known how she managed to get her hands on this type of talisman. It was too late for more thought. Envious of the East promptly struck several hand seals to urge the 4 holy beasts of the 4 symbols seal to launch an attack. The magnificent light of the 4 symbols seal swelled, close to blinding. Su Xing and Wu Xiao advanced with tacit understanding. One clenched his claws and the other grasped her sword as they charged into the middle of the 4 holy beasts. Gong Sun Huang also was unwilling to sit idle. She emerged from the star nest, fully using her star magic to contend against the Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon wildly danced, spitting out a stream of green light swift as water. This light fell like a heavy weight that pinned Su Xing. Su Xing furiously roared, and grabbing with his arms that brimmed with power, the green light shattered. When the azure dragon wanted to spit a second curtain of light, the clear sky became dragons that spun to attack. Hundreds of them wound around the azure dragon, fighting it. The azure dragon in the clouds rolled, its green light dazzling, the rays splattering everywhere. However, Gongsun Huang's star magic was also formidable. The little lowly swallowed a star-breaker golden pill, staking all of her strength, continuously using her star magic at full power. Pine brand ancient sword? Envious of the East opened his eyes wide when he saw that double-edged sword of multicolored light. He was practically incapable of believing she was the leisure star dragon in the clouds Gongsun Sheng, but they already did not give him too much time to be surprised. Su Xing and Wu Xiao handling the holy beasts gave rise to danger for him. The vermilion bird's body beautiful as flames seemingly burned and raged in the sky. With a bird cry, a scarlet ray of light shot straight out, cutting apart space. Su Xing certainly did not want to experience the terror of this light. Leaping several steps, jumping high, the shadows of his fists flew over covering the heavens and earth. The vermilion bird's crimson fire bubbled forth, awe-inspiring as it covered. Su Xing's whole body suddenly was enveloped in flame, but a moment later, a powerful black chi sprayed out and extinguished this heavenly fire just like water. The Su Xing under the god transformation talisman was like he had become a fiend star. His close combat imposing air was out of the ordinary, each punch and kick leaving no leeway at all, which made the vermilion bird feel stifled. Stifling like fire. The holy beast vermilion bird passively took the beating, crying incessantly. It only had a trace of weak true spirit, roughly supervoid level. Otherwise, if it was a genuine holy beast, it would have long already dispatched Su Xing. However, even if it only had a wisp of true spirit, it was still supervoid level. For lack of a better choice, the god transformation talisman ignored realms, transforming a cultivator into an existence like the star generals. Seeing the vermilion bird sustain injury, Envious of the East struck hand seals, and the white tiger smacked a paw toward Su Xing. Su Xing's body was like iron, resolutely enduring. Then he shook the white tiger back with a punch. The vermilion bird instantly disappeared, for it was frighteningly quick. Su Xing nevertheless was like he had become a puppet, a combat puppet. He did not hesitate at all to pursue to the side. Apparently he had already sniffed out his target. The vermilion bird appeared as expected. Su Xing acted, his two claws blowing wind. As if they had become shadows, they ripped apart the vermilion bird's flames. In the middle of its cries, the flames flourished. Its body seemed to enlarge, its illusory body having a comparatively substantial feeling. Su Xing leaned, bringing an ear-piercing whistle in the wind. His figure already appeared above the vermilion bird, ignoring that raging heavenly fire. His body rolled, and he raised then lowered a leg, resolutely hacking it down. His legs slashed down like a sharp blade. This was a very commonly seen attack movement, and of the leg arts, it was the most simple, most convenient, and the most quick move. It was just that being used this time by Su Xing, it astonishingly brought a strength that was different from previous times. The black markings over his whole body were like blood vessels, shining with the color of blood. The imposing aura was astonishing in swiftness and severity. The sharp whistle in the air hissed loudly, as if the air had been split in half. Bang! A frightening power suddenly erupted. The vermilion bird that had already lost the advantage of its heavenly fire could only be passive, actually suffering through this. Its body swayed, then swayed again. Su Xing nearly severed its wings, a scene quite unbearable. But the Su Xing under the god transformation talisman's sole sense of beauty was violence. Its body seemed to have lost its strength. Su Xing's body suddenly did a horizontal roll, and an iron leg already once again brought a terrifying whistling wind that hacked onto the same place on the vermilion bird. Bang! The vermilion bird dodged. Another roll, another whip of the leg. Bang! Bang 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 bang. In that instant, Su Xing was similar to a wild and fierce hurricane. His entire person already became a shadow spinning in the air. In a flash, several dozen kicks chopped like a blade, each time not leaving the vermilion bird's heavenly fire feather crest. Wu Xiao on the other side currently confronted the black tortoise. This black tortoise's defenses were extremely strong, more formidable than the profound star barrier. However, its attacks were mediocre. Even the Wu Xiao who had suffered serious injury to her vitality could barely cope with it. The most troublesome was that white tiger. Its speed was extremely quick, its attacks fierce, and its reactions were also incomparably swift. Its tiger claw and hiss were more powerful than the white and black unicorn tiger. Its frequent sneak attacks could put Su Xing and Wu Xiao somewhat in a difficult situation. For lack of a better option, Su Xing could only call out Yan Yizhen. Skillful star wanderer Yan Qing flew into the sky. Her yin-yang Pisces fists repeatedly bombarded, and when she faced the white tiger's ferocity, she was occasionally light as debris in flowing water, occasionally heavy as Mount Tai squeezing from above. Her boxing fluctuated, and her yin-yang palm and swallow flash samsara were not neglected. When Envious of the East saw the scene before him, he was stunned. What he saw in front of him actually was preposterous to everything he had saw in his whole life. 3 star generals and a galaxy early-stage cultivator using the God Transformation Talisman. Across the 1,000 years of the star duels, there had yet to be something so ridiculous. The Su Xing under the God Transformation Talisman suppressed the Vermilion Bird, the ranked 4th Leisure Star Gongsun Sheng tangled with the Azure Dragon, the ranked 14th Harm Star Wusong warded off the Black Tortoise, and the ranked 36th Skillful Star was evenly matched with the White Tiger. In the past, Envious of the East relied on this prehistoric spirit treasure 4 symbols seal with success every time. When the 4 symbols seal emerged, the 4 divisions' holy beasts would sweep forth. Even cultivators of the same stage would be somewhat fearful. It was precisely because of this that the most high path would be the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 great sect. But what Envious of the East would never have thought of in any case was that the 4 holy beasts summoned from the 4 symbols seal would unexpectedly be completely suppressed. Furthermore, it was 3 star generals. 3 star generals. Their most high path had just 1 heavenly star, yet this man unexpectedly could have 3 serve him. How is this possible? Envious of the East gnashed his teeth, promptly striking hand seals. It was a pity that the 4 symbol seal and the dual mode profound dust sword array already were Envious of the East's final trump cards. He had no other means and could only continuously imbue star energy into the 4 symbol seal. Today, if you do not die, then who will? The battle of Su Xing and the 3 heavenly stars could be rated as unique, but at this very moment, those cultivators currently fighting over the 10,000-year Gu demon nevertheless did not pay attention to Envious of the East's shock. Moreover, that Taoya's immense mouth was about to devour 5 poisons mountain. Everyone's complexions were pale, and then they saw a girl in a blue and white long skirt step over on clouds. She was Qingxi. Beside Qingxi was a fiend star with a biting, cold, murderous aura. The cultivators in an instant pulled together as one, knowing if they were swallowed by this, that 10,000-year Gu demon would be seized away by that her group. Their powers stumbled over one each other and could count as having beat back this enormous mouth. The strange dragon transformed into a black Taotai cauldron in Qingxi's jade hand. That Taotai was released from this black cauldron. Taotai cauldron. A supercluster early-stage star master. Everyone's lines of sight was directed at Qingxi, their eyes showing shock. To unexpectedly have a supercluster early-stage star master at the current phase actually was inconceivable, and from the ignorance in the eyes of the others, this woman had never been heard of. The shameful woman from who knows where dares be delusional. Lady Snake Scorpion saw the star general at Qingxi's side, and her face went cold. A swarm of poisonous bees attacked. Qingxi's expression was extremely light as ink that had dripped into water and dissolved. They saw a rainbow light linked together, exposing a jade ring. This ring was exactly like the door knockers, of palaces, a dragon-like thing biting on a circle. That ring escaped too in front of Lady Snake Scorpion and abruptly swelled to cover Lady Snake Scorpion. The jade ring's light rays glowed brightly. Lady Snake Scorpion was shocked, for she suddenly felt her body lose all spiritual power. Her star energy disappeared, and her strength vanished. She could not even exert a bit of force. Virtuous picture ring. Every one of the powerful founders present narrowed their eyes and saw the history of this treasure. If this was only a superb entrapment magic weapon, the founders present, including Holy Mother Qixia, were unlikely to be shocked. Qingxi slightly smiled, and her whole body vaguely showed 8 different types of items that revolved around: a jade seal, treasure bottle, bell, instrument, cauldron, ruler, saber, and a portrait. Each was different, each had a threatening spiritual power, and purple light flourished. This is that legendary purple star astral treasure of Heavenly Master 9 Dragons. The dragon has 9 suns seal. Xianzhenzi shouted in amazement. His always experienced voice showed an unrestrainable envious intent. The dragon has 9 suns seal was also called His Majesty 9 Dragons, 9 Dragons seal, or the 9 Dragons spirit treasure. 9 purple star astral treasures in one body, each with a unique function, each with boundless capability. Of course, one purple star astral treasure was sufficient to let cultivators run amok, but dragon has 9 suns was 9. You dare bully Mother Highness? Xie Bao was angered, continuously urging on the golden scorpion fine rain needles. They transformed into a sparkling rain of gold. The murderous woman beside Qingxi raised her arms and chopped down with the gloom upon them. A baleful aura easily broke these golden scorpion fine rain needles. Furthermore, that murderous air did not withdraw but directly twisted forth. Xie Bao only just dodged, but Longkue was like an iron tower and appeared behind her. Xie Bao was startled, and the 2 clumps of gloom hacked downwards. Xie Bao immediately entered the star nest. A multicolored light suddenly struck. Longkue easily blocked, her weapon stopping it. The gloom on the weapons nevertheless was subsequently dispersed, exposing a pair of unstoppable broad axes. Bereaved immortal lofty slaughter. 5. She is the killer star black whirlwind Li Kuei. 6. How about giving this 10,000-year goo demon to your servant? Qingxi slightly smiled. How about giving this 10,000-year goo demon to your servant? Qingxi slightly smiled, repeating her words just now. Her smile nevertheless made the others feel a chill in their hearts. The cultivators present drew in a breath, feeling that their hands and feet were ice-cold. Watching the killer star fight, their hearts had a sort of reverence. Liangshan continent was fond of using fiend stars to address star generals, but there was only one among the 108 star generals that genuinely could count as the fiend star. This was the ranked 22nd killer star black whirlwind Li Kuei. Naturally fond of killing, she possessed formidable battle senses. When she launched into a frenzy, whatever ability or magic weapon was totally ignored. To capture this sort of star general was extremely difficult. However, on second thoughts, the woman of unsurprised appearances in front of them nevertheless possessed a shocking astral treasure and an unprecedented supercluster cultivation. To be able to receive killer star Li Kuei did not count as anything. Just who are you? Everyone was shaken by the woman before them. Across all of Liangshan continent, apparently, they had yet to hear of this sort of character. Could it be you are that great saint star killer of the Black Turtle territory? Ancestor Longevity's tone concentrated. Great Saint Star Killer was the Black Turtle Territory's #1 Star Master, purportedly cultivating a transforming star of annihilation level cultivation method. The person's cultivation was out of the ordinary. If it was truly a transforming star of annihilation grade cultivation method, for him to truly reach supercluster stage cultivation was only natural. Furthermore, he was known as Great Saint Star Killer. Seeing that Star General was the killer star, could it be his name was because of this? Your servant is Qingxi, who certainly would not self-title herself some Great Saint Star Killer. Qingxi timely smiled. This 10,000-year goo demon will not be turned over to you. The ancestors were very angry in their hearts. If this 10,000-year goo demon was given to this Qingxi, that was enough. The Star Masters under their schools were not to be oppressed into cleaning rags. Although these ancestors harbored ulterior motives, they very quickly reached a tacit understanding that they absolutely could not hand the 10,000-year goo demon over to Qingxi even if they had to destroy it. Thinking of this, they squabbled over it even faster, completely not holding back on any of their powers. When Qingxi saw this, she did not say much. She opened her hand, and a Bayan instrument flew out. Afterwards, it rapidly became big. Her white fingers plucked, and the strings oscillated, playing a decadent music that rolled towards everyone. This music was like a phoenix ascending to heaven, like a dragon diving under the sea, containing a kind of indescribable magic. The chants of countless heavenly women surrounded from all directions, nearly breaking the concentration of the ancestors. If it was not for their deep and resounding divine intents, perhaps they already would have been put under her thrall. Xian Zhenzi and the rest immediately released defensive magic weapons, the divine lights around their bodies greatly flourishing. Zhongqi was enraged when he listened to that decadent music. How could he be fond of an unbridled supercluster stage star cultivator? He puffed his mouth and nostrils, and Golden Crow's divine flame gushed forth from his mouth, covering the sky and earth, rolling forth. Killer star Li Longkue at this time received Qingxi's indication. She raised the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter to attack, the double axes murderous. Demonic and fiendish black light surrounded the woman's body. Li Longkue's double axes were waved violently, rising up, back and forth several times, and the great expanse of Golden Crow's divine flame had been broken to bits and pieces. Zhongqi was actually not surprised. His current Golden Crow's divine flame was at 40 or 50%, however. The reason he spat the Golden Crow's divine flame was to vent his heart's anger on one hand, and on the other, it was intended to incite the killer star's irritability, making the other ancestor go attack. As expected, the killer star attacked. Xian Zhenzi and the other supercluster stage ancestors were the very first to move. How could they allow this killer star to get close? They each gave up on battle, and with tacit understanding, released their flying swords, sword arrays, magic weapons to go obstruct her. Although the 10,000-year Gu demon was attractive, they would need their lives to enjoy it. The bereaved immortal lofty slaughters slashed down. The killer star's killing intent truly was as violent as the rumors said, directly hacking apart the ancestral master's obstructions. The supercluster ancestral master looked at each other, knowing they could not hold back any longer. Just at this time, Qingxi called out, "Longkue, come back." The killer star Li Longkue halted her figure, instantly returning to Qingxi's side. Qingxi also knew that against 4 supercluster ancestral masters, Li Longkue could only go court death. However, these supercluster ancestral masters hindered Qingxi's 9-dragon spirit treasure and did not dare to arbitrarily act. There also an even more serious reason, and that was that the 10,000-year Gu demon that had been forced to its last vestiges of strength by these cultivators in addition to being trapped by Qingxi's Bayan music was already thoroughly unconscious. The current 10,000-year Gu demon was just like a precious piece of jade tossed onto the side of the road, just waiting for someone to pick it up. How could they be willing to watch this treasure at their feet be taken by someone else? Holy Mother Qi Xia seized the chance to send a multicolored light from the Qi Xia banners that rolled up the 10,000-year Gu demon to capture it. Zhongqi snorted out a yellow light that enveloped the 10,000-year Gu demon to vie for it. The other supercluster ancestors feared these supervoid cultivators no longer. In short, they would do their utmost to go squabble for it. Lady Snake Scorpion stared at Qingxi with fire about to shoot from her eyes. She had been trapped by the virtuous picture ring and could only watch helplessly as the 10,000-year Gu demon she had painstakingly nurtured be squabbled back and forth by others. Truly, she was angered to leaking smoke. Just at this moment, they suddenly heard a whooshing sound come from the skies. Before the person arrived, an imposing air came first. Lady Snake Scorpion was delighted, loudly shouting, "Lord Husband, quickly go snatch that 10,000-year Gu demon." Besides Zhongqi, everyone changed expressions, and even Holy Mother Qi Xia showed a grim expression. Everyone's eyes had hardly blinked when they had just heard a noise. Afterward, a tall and sturdy man all of a sudden appeared in the sky, draped in golden armor and cape. His back had 2 wings that covered the sky, imposing and brilliant, shaking the rivers and mountains, he was precisely Great Sage Falling Sky Rock Demon King. When the Rock Demon King arrived, the Azure Dragon Territory ancestors' hearts were the most confused, adding on even more speed to their squabble. They knew that using such depleted energy to contest the Rock Demon King, they inevitably were not opponents. The Rock Demon King looked at the strange scene of Five Poisons Mountain with slight surprise briefly. On one side was Envious of the East's four symbols seal in a war with a man and 3 women. On another side, he saw 6 cultivators fighting over a black and ugly monster. What the fuck was going on? The Rock Demon King for a time could not make sense of the situation in front of him. He heard the Lady Snake Scorpion call out. The Rock Demon King saw his trapped wife and was infuriated, loudly shouting. A golden bar mace, 3, was thrown out. The golden bar mace's light rays flashed and struck onto the virtuous picture ring. The Rock Demon King's cultivation was deep and resounding, and with this attack, the virtuous picture ring jolted with a dragon's cry, resounding in space. Qingxi's heart moved, and she hastily waved a hand to recall the virtuous picture ring. This Rock Demon King's cultivation was formidable as expected. The spiritual power of the Purple Star Grade 9 Dragon's Spirit Treasure's virtuous picture ring was unexpectedly damaged. Unexpectedly daring to harm my wife. The Rock Demon King looked at Qingxi, his eyes containing fury. His hands grabbed at the air, and he shook his wings. Those golden wings flapped, and a golden light suddenly fell like rain. Killer Star Li Longkue raised the bereaved immortal Lofty Slaughter to slash, but that golden light was emitted by a supervoid cultivator. This level of power struck Li Longkue that she spat out blood. Qingxi threw out the strongest defensive magic weapon of the 9 Dragon Spirit Treasure, that's Prostrate Snake Ruler. The Prostrate Snake Ruler became a rippling blue dragon shadow, coiling around her whole body and deflecting the golden rain. Dragon has 9 suns seal? What a woman to unexpectedly have this level of astral treasure. The Rock Demon King wanted to seize it the moment he saw it. Lord Husband, it is urgent that you quickly go fight for that 10,000-year goo demon. Lady Snake Scorpion was unable to deal with Qingxi. Seeing the 10,000-year goo demon about to be taken, she hastily called out for the Rock Demon King. The Rock Demon King nodded when he saw air pass through the mountains and rivers, and he shouted, "Tai, still you do not withdraw at once," unexpectedly daring to snatch the things of this king's wife. The Rock Demon King's wings flapped. At once, he truly split heaven and earth apart. A golden light enveloping his entire body resisted the attacks of all the cultivators. His divine might shook, and the supercluster ancestral masters of the Azure Dragon Territory cried out, having been shaken that their chi and blood rolled, unbearable to the extreme. When Zhongqi saw this, he retreated to one side. Only Holy Mother Qi Xia remained unmoved. The two were both known as the Demon Kings of a mountain, neither frightened of the other. Holy Mother Qi Xia, do you also wish to steal this king's things? The Rock Demon King sneered. Holy Mother Qi Xia's face was expressionless and did not reply, raising a 7-colored light to attack the Rock Demon King's rock golden light. Holy Mother Qi Xia also borrowed the shifting light image switching mirror. Handling Lady Snake Scorpion Star's falling dragon sword cost her much star energy, but it was sufficient to fight evenly with the Rock Demon King. Senior brother Zhongqi. The Rock Demon King shouted. The Zhongqi to the side gave up going after the 10,000-year goo demon, understanding tacitly as he spat out Golden Crow's divine flame to attack. The Qi Xia banners released a divine light that protected Holy Mother Qi Xia's body. Holy Mother Qi Xia grit her teeth, and the Qi Xia banners assembled into a single whole that suddenly emitted power. A beam of multicolored light gathered and slammed into the Rock Demon King's golden magic light. Bang! The supervoid powers collided, immediately releasing a world-shaking noise. 5 Poisons Mountain half-collapsed with a loud bang, the two each forced back. The 10,000-year goo demon had been sent flying under this power. The Rock Demon King was delighted when he saw this, and just as he was about to roll it away, he suddenly caught sight of a Taotai faster than him by a step. Its large mouth opened and swallowed the 10,000-year goo demon. Everyone was shocked, Astonished to see Qingxi released the Taotai cauldron to capture the 10,000-year Gu demon. It was already too late for everyone to want to fight over it anymore, for the 10,000-year Gu demon had been taken away. At this time, they saw 100 dragon images similar to a linked flying sword suddenly sweep forth, rushing to suddenly slash that large mouth of the Taotai just as it was about to return to the black cauldron, breaking this astral treasure. It was the Lady Snake Scorpion. Lady Snake Scorpion exhausted all of her strength to once again wield the stars falling dragon sword, but she was spent. The falling dragon sword's might was greatly decreased and barely broke the Taotai cauldron. Also, at the same time, Lady Snake Scorpion vomited blood, just like her vitality had been greatly harmed. This unexpected turn of events left everyone dumbstruck. Receiving the converging attacks of two powers, the 10,000-year Gu demon was tossed out once again and flew away in a very high arc. This flight just so happened to be in the direction envious of the east. Furthermore, that side fighting for the 10,000-year Jiu already was getting worse and worse. Su Xing's side where he confronted envious of the east had also reached the critical juncture, and the degree of intensity made it so that Su Xing did not have any leisure to check whose area the 10,000-year Gu demon would fall into. The four holy beasts that emerged from four symbols' seal truly were awesome, their attacks effective. Envious of the east was continuously urging star energy, nearly not holding back in the slightest. The azure dragon, vermilion bird, black turtle and white tiger were unwilling to surrender and fought in a jumble. They were seemingly immortal and indestructible, however, in the end, there was a limit. Under this kind of high-speed consumption, how could envious of the east still maintain the four-symbol seal? At this time, he finally showed a slip in attention. Su Xing seized this chance. The holy beast vermilion bird cried, all of the heavenly fire that sprayed from its body containing a spiritual nature and chasing Su Xing. Su Xing's body techniques were like a roaming dragon, nimbly scuttling back and forth. Then, he approached under the effects of the God Transformation Talisman. 5 claws like blades ripped the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird cried, flapping its wings even more, but at this time, it seemingly was even more like it was engaging in a useless struggle. Immediately afterwards, Su Xing stepped onto the vermilion bird's back, his hands penetrating the vermilion bird's heavenly fire and grabbing heavily onto its insides. Envious of the east was already powerless from the heart to continue maintaining his magic energy. The vermilion bird wailed, and its thread of true spirit abruptly shattered. Suddenly, the vermilion bird's whole body transformed into pieces of flame, disappearing without a trace. Envious of the east's mouth was agape, incapable of believing this. The vermilion bird of the four symbols' seal broke just like that. The God Transformation Talisman generally took demon beast souls of rank 10 or higher as the most valiant. However, Su Xing's God Transformation Talisman was somewhat weaker, using several demon beasts of ranks 7 and 8 or higher in its refinement. Even so, this many assembled together was very vigorous, and in addition to Su Xing's own extraordinary martial force, he was like a tiger that grew wings the moment he used the God Transformation Talisman. Breaking the defenses of the weakest vermilion bird was still not that easy. But envious of the east's nightmare was far from finished. Getting rid of the protective vermilion bird of the four symbol seal, Su Xing did not have any carelessness. Under the effects of the God Transformation Talisman, Su Xing at this moment truly was full to bursting with self-confidence. Seizing the fact that the God Transformation Talisman was still active, Su Xing launched an attack on the white tiger without the slightest hesitation. The white tiger was the strongest of the four symbols. 4 Yen Yizhen, resisting its storm-like speed and thunderclap-like strength was exceptionally exhausting. Little E, go help Xiao, Su Xing shouted. In the case that the Su Xing under the God Transformation Talisman fought without distinguishing friend or foe, out of fear of injuring her, he had Yen Yizhen go aid Xiao in handling the black turtle. Yen Yizhen understood, and her figure escaped. The white tiger violently pounced, but it was immediately blocked by Su Xing. Little E did pretty good. The white tiger before him had fur of white rays, its eyes releasing a divine power. Its 4 legs walked in snow, however, the yin-yang Pisces fists Yen Yizhen continuously used to strike still gave the white tiger major injuries. In the instant the white tiger pounced forward, a heavy pressure pressed over. Su Xing's hands grabbed the white tiger, and the muscles of his whole body bulged. His blood vessels were seemingly about to burst, but the white tiger's pounce was not only very fast, its power was also very strong, slamming Su Xing that his waist was like a tree being bent. Su Xing seized the chance to throw the white tiger into the air. At the same time, his ice-cold figure suddenly leapt. His silhouette drew a perfect arc in midair, already arriving right above the white tiger. Somersaulting in the air, 2 claws like a demon scratched, the movement smooth. Suddenly, his eyes were dazzled. The white tiger hanging in the air like soft cotton unexpectedly put out a defense. However, in a lightning-fast instant, with a violent noise, Su Xing's attack did not take any sort of advantage. When this attack was finished, the white tiger had not yet landed when it already launched an assault. A light beam was fired. Su Xing already seemingly reacted, leaning. In the midst of the ear-piercing hum it brought in the air, his figure already appeared above the white tiger's head. His body rolled, and he brought a leg up, violently chopping down with it. Su Xing's every attack was at full power, without holding back in the slightest, an imposing air so swift and severe it was shocking. The sharp whistle in the air grew louder, as if it had been divided in 2 at this instant. Bang! A frightening force suddenly erupted. This time, the white tiger did not have even the chance to react, actually suffering this. Bang! Instantly, Su Xing's fist showed a sort of odd clenched form. Besides protruding the joints of his 5 fingers, they carried a powerful strength towards the white tiger's bare throat. It was worthy of the name 4 holy beasts, however, things lasted only an instant. The white tiger's figure evaded, and by the time Su Xing reacted, the time it took to launch a counterattack was only an instant. Bang! The tiger claw made a normal pat, but it ruthlessly sunk into Su Xing's body. An immense, even terrible, power immediately erupted, sending him flying backwards facing upwards, just like a piece of white paper floating down. Instantly, the white tiger pursued, its offensive stifling and violent. It leapt beautifully in midair, and another paw brought the sound of wind as it once again ferociously scratched Su Xing's body, bringing out flesh and blood. If it was not for the God Transformation Talisman making his body's basic essence surly to an unreasonable stage, this smack would have already broke Su Xing in 2. The man and tiger fought 100 bouts, and afterwards, Yen Yizhen and Wu Xiao were suddenly added into the combat situation. The white tiger could not hold out even if it was any stronger. The 3 working together destroyed the white tiger, and by the time the black turtle charged over, Yen Yizhen had received an attack that she nearly entered the star nest. The maid's mouth leaked blood, already weak all over, but her face still hung tenacity upon it. When the 3 surrounded the black turtle produced a serpentine cry, truly a sort of mournful appearance of being pinned. Envious of the East watched as his 4 symbols seal was broken one by one, his heart truly hating to death that he was incapable of other abilities. Because he relied on the dual-mode profound dust sword array and the 4 symbols seal, in addition that Envious of the East was of supervoid cultivation that permitted him to rampage in Liangshan, Envious of the East disdained to go learn some other abilities after the fact. Seeing that even the 4 symbols seal was unable to be sustained, on one hand, he unleashed the primordial boundless flying swords while endlessly urging the 4 symbols seal onwards on the other. What might as well have let Envious of the East be relieved was that terrifying woman-harm star Wu Song finally stopped her attack. It seemed she was already spent and had become deadweight, and the other skillful star also was growing increasingly weak, having been shaken by the black turtle several times. After the leisure star fully displayed her star magic several times, she had disappeared. Su Xing was left with no choice but to swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree to break away from the dangerous situation. And that God Transformation Talisman was slowly sapping his strength. There was a trick. Envious of the East's heart was delighted. Apparently, he saw the Liangshan shaking splendor of one person's strength getting rid of 3-star generals. If he knew Su Xing's current thoughts, perhaps he would not be this relaxed. Su Xing saw that the 4-symbol seal was so powerful that his heart could not rid of itself of the idea to steal it, but he knew that although unrefined astral treasures were very easily taken, to snatch it from Envious of the East's hands was not that simple. To steal an astral treasure, he first of all had to sever the link between user and astral treasure. The current 4-symbol seal had left the final black turtle and azure dragon. Without breaking them, there would be no way to steal the 4-symbol seal. If they were broken, Envious of the East could immediately recall the 4-symbol seal the moment he saw things turn for the worse. Su Xing was not arrogant enough to kill a supervoid cultivator. So to simultaneously break the 4-symbol seal still required severing the connection between Envious of the East and the astral treasure. For example, like Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity, his star energy was substantially consumed. Stealing at a time like this, he would not have the energy to recall it. Su Xing's thoughts rapidly spun, and then he had his countermeasure. The God Transformation Talisman's effects were gradually fading, and Su Xing also could feel his whole body hurt. Little Huang. Su Xing secretly used a sound transmission. The 10,000-year Gu demon. Gongsun Huang understood, suddenly pointing in a different direction and shouting. When Envious of the East heard this, he immediately turned his gaze by instinct, but he did not see any of the Gu demon's figure at all. Instead, he saw the Rock Demon King and Holy Mother Qi Xia in battle. It seemed this trip for the Gu demon was a waste. However, if he killed 3-star generals, taking back the miraculous Bodhi tree was worth the price. It was just during this instant he turned his head that Su Xing knew his chance had come. His left hand flipped, and the green lotus peak swelled in size by several times, pressing down. Little Huang immediately used star magic to trap the azure dragon and black turtle. The green lotus peak heavily pushed down. The black turtle sprayed an enormous light and the azure dragon soared into the clouds to resist the green lotus peak, but along with Su Xing swishing the miraculous Bodhi tree several times, he broke the holy beast's magic. His star energy increased, and the green lotus peak immediately flattened and scattered the wisp of true spirit of the azure dragon and black turtle. The green lotus peak. You killed Taoist Master Qinglian? Envious of the East was greatly shocked. Seeing the 4 holy beasts of the 4-symbol seal had completely been broken, Envious of the East's expression was unsightly to the extreme. Just as he was about to immediately recall it, Su Xing's finger shot an immortal magic purple thunder dragon slaying towards Envious of the East. Envious of the East quickly dodged, however, as a supervoid cultivator, he was naturally experienced enough to know Su Xing wanted to steal his 4-symbol seal. Inwardly sneering, he struck a hand seal. 100 primordial boundless sword lights suppressed Su Xing. Envious of the East rolled his sleeve, but a cool and elegant figure suddenly burst forth. Envious of the East saw Wu Xiao's sudden revolt and realized the woman in front of him was biding her time for just this moment. Wu Xiao staked her last shred of energy to use 10 Li Demon Lotus Dragon slaying. This slash directly stabbed into Envious of the East, but this supervoid cultivator's cultivation was very formidable. It was too early for this sword to take Envious of the East's life, and Envious of the East's slap struck Wu Xiao back into being caught by Yan Yizhen. However, Wu Xiao nevertheless wore a sort of victorious smile. Envious of the East's face changed. The 4-symbol seal. Envious of the East's reactions were fast enough. Without the slightest hesitation, he launched a sword array to attack Su Xing. So long as he could drag on for 1 second, that was enough. Envious of the East seemingly caught sight of a shadow flashing towards the 4-symbol seal in the air. In Envious of the East's eyes, he saw that was apparently a graceful girl dressed in black skin-tight clothes. By the time the sword array dispersed, Su Xing did not have any opportunities to go seize it at all, so Envious of the East breathed a sigh of relief. Coldly grinning, he was about to recall it. Suddenly, he discovered his own divine intent already could not sense the 4-symbol seal. Looking clearly, the jade seal had already disappeared without a trace. No! Envious of the East looked everywhere but could not spot that black-clothed girl that had flashed by. His whole body shook, as if electricity was flowing through his whole body. He looked at Su Xing in alarm. The 10,000-year Gu demon. Su Xing abruptly looked behind Envious of the East and completely did not hesitate to rush forward as he shouted, "Idiot!" Envious of the East cursed. How would he be duped again? Seeing Su Xing swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree in a tumultuous approach, his figure suddenly dodged to the side. This dodge left Envious of the East dumbstruck, and his insides were regretful. He only saw a pitch-black and ugly monster fly over. If Envious of the East had not evaded, it would have just happened to land on him, but he thought that Su Xing saying this was a ploy. Thus, he dodged, and with this dodge, Su Xing took advantage of the gap and slipped through. The early bird catches the worm, and although the Rock Demon King's speed was quick, under the Bodhi's divine light he could only retreat. Su Xing was greatly delighted when he grabbed onto the 10,000-year Gu demon. Imbuing it with essence blood and divine intent, he immediately captured it. Boom! Everyone stared wide-eyed at the youth that caught the snipe and clam. Little brat, hand over the 10,000-year Gu demon, otherwise, this king shall show you. The Rock Demon King sneered. The surrounding Azure Dragon territory founders, besides Holy Mother Chi Xia's eyes that had an odd indifference, and the 3 Supervoid cultivators immediately surrounded Su Xing. Their spiritual powers released, making Su Xing unable to escape. "It is you!" The Rock Demon King saw Su Xing and was enraged. Everyone was startled, hastily using their powers that restricted high speed. This time, Su Xing was at the so-called end of his rope. The sole solution perhaps was the jade pendant. Su Xing looked at Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao slightly shook her head, determination written in her eyes. Su Xing firmly grasped Wu Xiao's wrist to demonstrate that he absolutely would not retreat. Yan Yizhen was not afraid to die, staring at everyone's oppressiveness. Gong Sun Huang also appeared as a divine power from nothingness. Just at this moment, there was a clear shout. "Sire! Just allow us to star duel here." Qingci abruptly shouted. What was odd was that she did not allow the killer star to advance and kill. Instead, she alone rushed forth toward Su Xing. This made Su Xing completely surprised because this girl did not have any killing intent at all. "We shall star duel. Do you wish to interfere?" Qingci turned her head and smiled, not afraid in the least. "You too must die." Everyone saw Su Xing's powers were valiant, with 3 star generals protecting him. He had also obtained the 10,000-year Gu demon, and there was that Qingci with the frightening killer star and 9 dragon spirit treasure. Right now was the perfect opportunity to get rid of the evidence. This will provoke Maiden Mountain. Queen Lady of Ice shook her head, not at all planning to loot a burning house. Holy Mother Chi Xia harbored the same thinking as she, however. This Holy Mother Chi Xia did not have the idea to help Wu Xiao out of this predicament. Under this many cultivators, she chose to put her own safety first. "How can we be at ease if we do not kill him?" The group of ancestors angrily shouted, their might wildly coming around. Just at this moment, a ruinous brilliance suddenly fell from the sky. This beam of light fell from the 9th firmament, falling between Su Xing and Qingci. It engulfed them, and the cultivators' star energies and magic weapons were immediately broken. The Rock Demon King was startled. Whoever dares break Maiden Mountain's established rules, shall whoever prepare to court death. The figure had not yet arrived when an imposing heir came first. "What a scam, Maiden Mountain be damned." Zhong Qi sneered, transforming into a golden crow, greatly flourishing the divine flame to break this light beam. A golden 9-story pagoda fell from the heavens. The golden pagoda released a golden light that rolled up the golden crow's divine flame. Zhong Qi was startled, and the golden pagoda rolled forth again. This supervoid level immemorial golden crow from the White Tiger territory cawed and was rolled into the pagoda without any resistance. Everyone was stifled. Heaven Earth Dark Yellow 1000 Pagoda. Qingci's eyes narrowed, as if she had foreseen this while a near imperceptible sneer flit across her lips. that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.